We're together in sound and vision, IMSA TV and IMSA Radio. Great to have your company. Spectacular looking Mid-Ohio sports car course. Over the last few weeks and months, it's been particularly damp around here, so it's even more green and pleasant than normal. But off the racing line is treacherous for cars and drivers. Any small mistake here and you will be bogged down and require some assistance from the tow trucks. 13 corners, 2.25 miles of some of the most challenging tarmac anywhere in North America and therefore the world of sports car racing. The keyhole at the top of the hill, well, that's caused some problems this weekend, as has the braking area into turn 4. The carousel, well, that's been pretty clean, actually, this week so far. Now that I've said that, of course, that means that it will all break out like mad during the race. It's the 50th anniversary year of IMSA. Happy birthday to the International Motorsports Association. This golden year has already been brilliant in terms of what it's delivered in action and excitement. And for the first time really this weekend, we can see shadows around the circuit here at Mid-Ohio. A lot of green gaps in the parking areas because they're still not able to be parked on. Everyone looking for hard standing, but there's a good crowd here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, just not parked in the places that they normally are. Jeremy Shaw is the voice that is alongside me, John Hindhaugh, in the IMSA broadcast booth. Good afternoon, Jeremy. Looking forward to this one.
Oh, very much. This is going to be really, really interesting. The field is so closely matched in each of the classes, and you know, picking a winner here with so little dry weather running this weekend. As you say, the sun just beginning to poke through now. That's good news for a lot of these teams, but there's a lot of question marks going in. A lot of them really don't know how the tyres in particular, not that they're going to last, but whether they can get them up to temperature and how long that is going to take.
I'm going to say a quick hello right at the start of our broadcast to one of our super fans in Pittsburgh. Hello to Will. I know that they'll be tuned in around the world, but Will, nice to have your company today as well. Enjoy the 2 hours and 40 minutes. We're in our Michelin countdown to green, our Porsche keys to the race, Jeremy. Track position is key here. It's almost in some ways like where we've just come from Long Beach to the street circuit, because it's not very easy to pass here.
No, I mean, there's a lot of switchback corners here from left to right, and even the main straight, there's a kink halfway down there as well, so it's not easy to get a run on here. It's not a particularly wide track, as we heard Earl Bamber talk about a few minutes ago, but you know, it is possible to overtake here, but traffic certainly is a problem, and for the prototype cars, when they come to work their way through the GT traffic, they've got to be patient.
Those DPIs, the cars at the front of the field, it's a 3-stop race if we go green all the way, but it's tight on fuel. But fuel might not be the determining factor here this weekend.
No, it's certainly going to be the tyres, and not that they need to change the tyres, because the tyres will last around here. The longevity of the tyres is great. There's very low degradation here. It's not a super grippy track, so it doesn't take a lot of energy out of the tyres, but getting the heat into them, that's the difficulty. And we're going to see there's a lot of scrubbed tyres, particularly during the warm-up this morning. I don't remember a busier warm-up than we had at 8 o'clock this morning. Teams out there just making sure that they had tyres scrubbed in, ready for the race. If you start on brand new sticker tyres, which you would like to do normally if there's a grippy surface, but here you really want that the kind of edge, if you like, taken off the brand new fresh Michelin tyres.
So that's the DPIs, 3 stops and it's tight. The GTs, Jeremy Shaw, 2 stops, an easy 2-stop race in terms of 2 hours and 40 minutes. But how do you split the race up? Do you empty your tank on your first run? Do you go short and pit immediately you know you can get to the end? And that is the strategic conundrum for everyone on the pit wall.
Yeah, and then whether or not you change tyres, because you can certainly change the tyres within the window of time that will be taken to refuel the cars, but do you want to keep the hot tyres on the car, keep the tyres with some temperature in them already, or do you go out on a fresh set and have to build up the temperatures? With the sun now coming out, even that might have changed the strategy from what it was just say 15 minutes ago.
The cars are rolling out of the pit lane. We're live across the world in sound and vision, IMSA TV and IMSA Radio together. Hello from John Hindhaugh, Jeremy Shaw and Shea Adam in the pit lane. At the front of the field, the DPIs may not be able to exploit all of their performance potential and get that power to the ground early on. This could be an interesting start to the race, Shea.
I think it's going to be a fascinating start to the race. Like Patrick Pile was insinuating, the GTD cars with their ABS will be able to switch on the tires a little bit quicker than the GTLM cars. And then some of the slower DP cars and LMP2 cars, are they going to be a challenge for the GTE cars at the front? GTLM could wind up being the most interesting class for the pole sitters and the last in class, strictly because their track that they're used to not having to share with the faster and slower cars might just be occupied by people and they weren't expecting to see there.
Hello to Harry Tincknell, who has been plying his trade in the World Endurance Championship. Harry is tuned in back in Europe 25 minutes before 7 o'clock there. H, nice to know that you're tuned in watching your Mazda colleagues here at the track. Can Mazda go a couple of steps to the podium better than they've done here before? This is where they've had their best race, Jeremy Shaw. They're in the best position, certainly with the 77 car. And once again, Ollie Jarvis has been an absolute star in qualifying. Can they convert that into a race? They kind of have to now. They must get this win at some stage.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Acuras are going to be tough to beat. The Cadillacs are always tough to beat, so it's going to be a very, very competitive race. Ryan Hunter-Reay, of course, drafted in instead of Harry Tincknell this weekend, with Harry otherwise disposed at Spa. Ryan, I spoke to him this morning. He's loving driving this nimble little Mazda. It's a fabulous car for him to drive, but he says he wishes he could have qualifying over again, because coming into this weekend, he hadn't even driven the car, hadn't even been to the simulator. The deal was done relatively late. Only at Long Beach was he approached to drive this car, so hadn't had any time to do any development work at all. So he came in here completely cold. Most of practice and qualifying was wet. Qualifying was finally dry, but it was a very steep learning curve. Getting the car fast around here in a wet is one thing, but completely different lines in the dry. He knows the lines, but he wasn't super confident in the car, or he wanted to make sure at least he didn't make any mistakes. So he knows a lot more about that. He's a lot better prepared going into the race than he was for qualifying yesterday.
And just thinking about those Acuras, they had the win here last year, and that was their best result. It hasn't been a banner start to the Acura program for Team Penske. They don't do learning years, and by their own very high standards, it wasn't the year they were looking for last year, and they haven't had a great start to this year in terms of the results either.
No, the results haven't been there. The car has certainly been competitive, no question about that, and they had that 1-2 finish here last year. This is the Acura Sports Car Grand Prix, so they come in here with very, very high expectations, and the cars are both good, and I think the Acura ARX-05s, they're going to be well suited to these conditions now, particularly with the sun coming out now, just to give the asphalt a little bit more temperature, and it's going to play into their favour, as it is for several of the other teams.
2 hours and 40 minutes is on the clock, and this is the 4th round of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship season. We started with the Rolex 24 Daytona, a circuit that is unlike any other. We then went to our second Florida race in 2 races at the start of the year, the Mobil 112 Hours of Sebring, on an airfield track that is, quite frankly, like no other. Then we went to our shortest race of the season, 100 minutes, and the teams and drivers had to conquer the concrete canyons of that short race on the streets of Long Beach. So for our 4th challenge, it is a 4th different challenge here on the undulations of the 2 1/4 miles of Mid-Ohio Sports Car course. It's also the first, Jeremy Shaw, of our 2 hour and 40-minute races, which means for the first time we've got to think about a brand new championship here in GTD, the IMSA Sprint Championship. Yeah,
that's added an extra string to the bow, so to speak, something else for the GTD teams to chase. And this is the first of 7 races, I guess, we've got in this format for the season, so that's going to be interesting too. Great to see McLaren here for the very first time in GTD, that gorgeous 720S run by Compass Racing. The car has qualified very well in 8th position.
Nice.
Matt Plum, he said afterwards he perhaps didn't get the best out of the car in qualifying. Perhaps there's a little bit more to come.
Now, as the cars went across the stripe on the pit straight in front of the IMSA broadcast booth, the 2 hours and 40 minutes started. That is the timing line. But we're not under green flag conditions yet. Not because anyone has had a problem, but because we don't start until halfway down the back straight. That is where our starter is. That is where the green flag is. And that is where Ollie Jarvis is leading the field down. Elio Castroneves has got a little bit ahead of the pole sitter here, and he has to be a bit careful. He'll be looking across his right shoulder. Beautiful 2x2 formation. Green, green, green. And Elio jumped early and then had to get off the gas as Ollie Jarvis takes the line first and heads down to the heavy braking area at turn 4. It's Dane Cameron trying to come around his left-hand side. He'll try and make the dash into turn number 5 as he goes across the top of the rise, but can't make that happen. Also, the Mazda's been turned around. The second Mazda's been turned around, but what a save that was by Ryan Hunter-Reay. I felt sure he was going to spear off in the dirt. Meantime, there's a battle on right ahead of those guys. A lot of paint being traded early on by the TPIs. That just goes to show what we were talking about in the Porsche keys to the race, how important track position is here, Jarvis.
And how slippery it is on the first few laps of this race. Elio Castroneves was really struggling down there. He got into Ryan Hunter-Reay. The two IndyCar stars got together down there, and that cost both of them quite a lot of time, and it's enabled Pipo Derani to get up into 4th place, but he's a long way behind the top 3.
Just so close to disaster so early on, and the guy's still being pushed around, and that Acura was on the grass at one stage. In fact, I think we had the number 10 car as well of Renke van der Zande got pushed almost identical right to 45 degrees and beyond. How they got out of that unscathed, I've got no idea. Down in the GT ranks, there was a big shunt in the GT ranks, and one of the P2 cars turned around, I think, there as well. Yes, it was.
Yeah, number 38.
38 car coming into the pit lane, and there's damage to the Acura, number 7, in 5th position. That's Elio Castroneves. He's got a bit of bodywork behind the front wheel, over the front wheel. That's not going to be allowed. He's going to have to pit that car. And pit it early. Turner Motorsport in the pit lane as well, with severe damage to the front of their normally beautifully turned out BMW. He's run into the back of someone, I would say, from that. So it's been an eventful start, but we're still under green. The 96 Turner car is rolling, but I can only imagine to go behind the wall. Shea Adam, an unexpected pit caller early on.
Yeah, never fails. As soon as I run down to that end of the pit lane, it is going to turn left behind the wall. The Turner car, which was wearing tacos on the nose because Cinco de Mayo is their favorite day of the year, sadly not going to get their victory dinner.
Shea Adam reporting for us here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV down from the pit lane. Let's take a little bit of a breath and try and work out what's going on. Well, Ollie Jarvis has checked out to nearly a second from Dane Cameron, 77 Mazda from 6 Acura, but all eyes on the number 7 Acura of Elio Castroneves as standard operational procedure. The start is being reviewed as through into 4th place goes Ryan Hunter-Reay. The Mazda's liking a little bit of sunshine here, that dark red, soul crystal metallic paintwork, almost looking black sometimes when it catches the bright sunlight. And Hunter-Reay clearing Joao Barbozza and heading off in pursuit of Pipo Derani in the number 31, the bright red Cadillac that's up the road ahead of him.
Isn't that interesting? Ryan Hunter-Reay just saw him a little while ago, and he was really looking forward to the race. He felt a lot better prepared than he was for qualifying yesterday, and he was a brilliant save after being clobbered there by Elio Castroneves going over the S's at the first lap. But I think he's got away with it perhaps. Doesn't seem to be any damage to that car, whereas there is to the number 7 Acura.
And I think there's some damage to the back of the number 5 car as well. I'll have to see that the next time it comes through. It's not bothering the 77 or the 55. They are going great guns at the moment. Ryan Hunter-Reay had not sat in this car before this week, and he has been absolutely outstanding. Now, just think back to the start and see where it all started. It was the 31 Cadillac that got into Elio Castroneves. Then Ryan Hunter-Reay was turned around by Elio as he was trying to recover, who then went side by side with the 5, and that's where the damage came on the left front of Elio's car, right front of Elio's car rather. So that'll be the left rear of the number 5 of Joao Barbozza. showing some signs of damage. We should be able to get a look at that the next time it comes past us. Well, that was exciting.
It was. The very first flying lap, by the way, the race leader, Oliver Jarvis, set a new lap record around here. The first flying lap, despite the fact he hadn't yet got the full heat into the tyres at that stage. 1:13.7 last time around. A new fastest lap was a 13.3 by Dane Cameron. This time, though, it's Ryan Hunter-Reay in that fourth place Mazda car number 55 for 1:12.680.
Significant penalty here, Jeremy. Patrick Pilet, who's leading GTLM, has been called for a jump start and will have to come in for a drive-through. He's just coming in to the pit lane now. That's the only penalty that I can see for the start. So got a little bit anxious. Oh, he went very early indeed. Got in behind his teammate and then went past that car as well. Past 3 cars before the start line. So Pilet has given up the lead to Tommy Milner in GTLM. It's the Corvette that leads from the Ford GT number 66 of Sebastian Bourdais. Should mention about that car is already wearing its Le Mans livery. What's special about that? Well, it's the 2016 Le Mans winning livery. Slightly different shades of red and blue and a bit of pinstriping. Just subtle differences to what we've been used to in the last couple of years. One of 4 throwback liveries, heritage designs that we expect to see from Ford for their final outing at the Le Mans 24 Hours at June. So that, in June, should I say, that's second, third for Lawrence Van Toor in the 912. Then the 2 BMWs in GTD. Richard Heistand, backing up his great performance this week, has solidified his pole position and leads by half a second from Trent Hitman in second, then Will Hardeman in third, Acura and Lexus then 14.86.19. Christina Nielsen certainly holding her own with good pace in 4th position in the 57, the Caterpillar-sponsored Acura NSX from MSR. But at the front of the field, Ollie Jarvis has clear track as Patrick Pilet is picking his way through the GTD runners and has just gone by Parker Chase in the number 8 Audi and is heading towards Zachary Robichon in the I'm a Lumberjack shirt. That's the FAF Racing number 9. So that is 28th position overall as he goes across the line. Make that 27th because the pass has already been made.
New fastest lap again by our race leader last time around, 1:12.5 by Oliver Jarvis. Last year's pole record, by the way, was a 1:11.8 by Elio Castroneves. That was eclipsed by a full second this year by Oliver Jarvis. It's Oliver Jarvis who leads this race. And that bit of bodywork, by the way, on number 7 Acura over the right front tyre. That seems to have blown off that car.
Oh, really?
So it's no longer flapping around. I think that's what it looked like as it came past here to complete lap 6.
The trip to the pit lane. Shea Adams, someone who has been in, is
the Performance Tech number 38 LMP2 car, the car that actually won the 12 Hours to Sebring in its category. It was Cameron Castles who started the car, even though Kyle Massam put it on pole. They were spun around at the start of the race, resulted in rear wing damage. They took that off and then realized that the left rear suspension needed to be fixed. Crew guys going to work. They got it done. They're now just putting the body paneling back together. Brent O'Neill's boys and girls doing a fabulous job down here.
hello to Chelsea Jarvis, who's just tweeted in at IMSA Radio. She's got a watch party going on back in the UK, part of the Mazda Long Distance Supporters Club this weekend with Harry Tincknell back in Europe as well. Chelsea, your boy's doing good at the moment at the head of the field, 3/4 of a second over Dane Cameron. A long way to go though, still 2.5 hours, and now the traffic starts. Ollie Jarvis right up alongside the battle for first and second through turn 1, and the battle has gone for the moment at least to Dane Cameron. Opportunist manoeuvre there by the Acura driver, and that's the first lead change. Going up into turn 2 now, he drifts away from the apex curb, but that was all down to the traffic. It's always dangerous for the leader because you're the guy that wakes up all of those battles, weaving left and right. It looks like Forza Motorsport out there in the sunshine. Fabulous weather, great driving, the car's looking fabulous with the backdrop of the bright green that has been watered very well over the last few days, the surrounding countryside here. And now 2 cars wide in front of the new leader, Dane Cameron. Can he get by them as he goes through madness under the Acura bridge? Now heading towards Thunder Valley, having to take a little more curb than I think he wanted to. It's the FAF Motorsport Porsche that is just at the moment in the way for Ollie Jarvis. Then he goes by also the 76 Matt Plum McLaren, 6th position for that GTD McLaren. They'll be delighted with its early pace.
Yeah.
Now the leader caught up at the carousel in behind the Lexus, the second of the Lexus. That's the Frank Montecalvo car. Can Ollie get by before the first corner, diving into it? It was just a moment's hesitation caused by one of the AMGs, the number 74 car of Gar Robinson, and that just caught Ollie up for a moment, but quite clearly that Mazda has got good pace. What we have seen though, Jeremy, that is the smallest engine of any of the DPIs, just a 4-cylinder 2-litre with a turbocharge, and it needs a little time to spool up. It doesn't have that momentum and torque that the bigger engine cars have, and therefore traffic is a more difficult proposition for that car.
It certainly is, and that showed, I think, there on through turn one. Here is number 54 car, Core Autosport, the Nissan, making an early pit stop. But just a word in GTD, it's still the number 14 Lexus Richard Highstand that leads, but Trent Hinman in the Meyer Shank Racing Acura, he's come all the way from the 8th position to challenge Highstand for the lead in that category. Also on the move, charging hard, Christina Nielsen from the very back of the grid up to 4th place in GTD. Super run by the number 57 as well.
A little bit of fuel for the number 54 Core Autosport, and a new driver, Colin Brown, is in until the end. The 5-minute minimum drive time has been met. John Bennett, birthday boy as of yesterday, has job done.
Thank you, Shea Adam, down in the pit lane. Keep having to remember to take a big breath when I can here. So much going on. The Michelin Pilot Challenge yesterday was an absolute barnstormer, and we've got even better weather here today, and the track is just going to get stickier and more grippy. Proper sunshine now here, and just fluffy white clouds, none of the dark threatening ones that we've seen recently. At the head of GTD then, Richard Highstand leading the GT Daytona category for GT3 cars, and right in behind, here's the Acura, but they've got prototype traffic coming up on them. That's Ollie Jarvis trying to come through past these battling pair. The blue flags will be out, signifying there's a quicker car behind you, but how do you know who it's for? And certainly the guy in the middle has to be very careful indeed, and that Acura is Trent Hinman, very experienced driver, stays out of the way and will try and go down the outside. What a manoeuvre from Hinman. Used the opportunity, and perhaps a little bit of confusion for Richard Highstand as the second placed DPI went by. Saw his opportunity and just didn't brake where anybody would expect him to. Swept around the outside in the carousel, and there's a new leader in GT Daytona.
There's also a new third place car, that being Ryan Hunter-Reay's managed to find a way past Pipo Derani, so it's now accurate leads, but all of a sudden that gap has grown from first to second to 6 seconds between Dane Cameron and Oliver Jarvis. So Cameron here really taking full advantage of his greater experience on this sort of a racetrack in these sort of cars, and he's pulled out 6 seconds in the Acura over the pursuing Mazda of Oliver Jarvis, and a similar margin back in third place, running really, really nicely now, is Ryan Hunter-Reay in that number 55 car.
Now everybody just needs to settle down a little bit. Still the better part of 2 hours and 26 minutes as Hunter-Reay now hits that battle for second place. First and second place in GTD, also fighting the way through Patrick Pilet, who's back up to 21st position, and he is round about 20 seconds away from the back of the GT Le Mans field. After that drive-through for a jump start, what a jump start it was. He was never getting away with that. There'll also be a drive-through for the number 38 LMP2 car. Problems earlier on for that car, having been spun around in that early kerfuffle. Working under the car without the proper jack stands. That's a drive-through. Now battles right the way through the DPI field. Only 8th position for Renger van der Zande after he very nearly got spun around. Junkos Racing's Will Owen, the 50 in the white, green and orange car. He's battling him, and right behind them is Misha Goldberg in the number 85, the yellow JDC Miller Motorsport Cadillac. So 3 Cadillacs there battling for 8th position on down, 10, 50 and 85, and they're in GT Daytona traffic as well. Who gets the advantage here? Well, I think for a moment at least it was Renger van der Zande, but here comes Goldberg getting a little bit of a draft up behind the Junkos Racing car, down towards turn 4. Slow prototype, very slow prototype, right on the apex of the kink at turn 3. I think it's the 38 car, yes it is. That's the car that's already been into the pit lane, and that may be dead stick. I'm not sure they've got any drive at all, and Shea Adam, that has caused a little bit of activity down in the pit lane.
First ones to notice, as per usual, yellow team. That would be Corvette Racing. The number 3 crew jumped up onto the wall. They've got their air guns. They've got new scrubbed-in Michelin slicks ready to go on the car. As soon as it comes into the pit lane, that would be Jan Magnussen bringing it in.
Well, they may be watching to see what develops with that number 38 car as the Junkos JDC battle comes through. Across the line goes the number 10, Renger van der Zande, in that glossy Cadillac. Used to be a much flatter black, but I think it looks way better when it's nice and shiny. At the front of the field, 6 seconds the gap. Dane Cameron over Ollie Jarvis with Ryan Hunter-Ray. Another 9 seconds further back. Those early incidents have opened up some gaps at the front of the field.
They certainly have. The pace at the front, those top 3 is really, really stout at this stage. They're the only cars to lap into 14s. Everybody else in the 15s or 16s, the prototypes behind them. As you see, number 38 car limping its way towards the pits. Nice job there, Cameron Castles, to get that car out of the way. Also on the move, Elio Castroneves. He found a way past Joao Barbozza, number 7 car, ahead of number 5 a couple of laps ago. Still got that damage to the right front, but at least the bodywork is not flapping around anymore.
It's Jeremy Shaw alongside John Hindhoff in the IMSA broadcast booth. Good news for us is that the 38 LMP2 car is into the pit lane. It has made it around, so it must have had some drive, but it was very slow. The engine must have been running there when it came in.
Yeah, the engine was running, but it sounded like maybe he was stuck in gear. I think that would have been the issue, because he turned the car off and coasted into his pit box.
So live across the world, if there's no network TV deal, IMSA TV or the player at radiolemans.com, XM Sirius 90.3 FM around the circuit, and of course on the IMSA app. This is IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. We're live from Mid-Ohio, and the battles continue. As soon as the prototypes get a bit of clear air, it all kicks off again. And behind Renger van der Zande, a bit of queue forming there with Willow and Misha Goikberg, and hoving into view there as well, although off the lead lap is, that'll be Colin Brown coming through now, because they've made their first pit stop. But he is a lap off the guys ahead of him. He
is, yeah, and that was a tragedy. Minimum drive time is 10 minutes. So John Bennett managed that, and he's now handed a car over to Colin Brown, and they'll be hoping to get back on strategy. He's a lap down to the leaders right now, but plenty of opportunities to gain that back as the race goes along. Just talking about the GTD, by the way, it's still Trent Hitman who leads for Meyershank Racing in the Acura car number 86. So a great day for Acura so far, leading both overall and in GTD. Richard Highsand's doing a fine job hanging on there in second place. Hats off though to Will Hardeman in that number 19 Audi for Moorespeed, running a very stout third place ahead of Frankie Montecalvo, in front of Christian Nielsen, who's worked away all the way from the back of the field, and Frankie Montecalvo dicing in there as well.
In GT Le Mans, it's Tommy Milner who leads by 9/10 of a second to Sebastian Bourdais in the 2016 livery of Ford GT in the Le Mans winner. Then it's Lawrence Vantour in the 912. He's about the same distance back. Then it's about 4 seconds back to Connor De Filippi for BMW Team RLL. So the top 3 GTD cars in a bit of clear air now. So we get to see the relative performance of Chevrolet, Corvette, Ford GT and Porsche 911 RSR, and we've got the top 4 places covered by the 4 different manufacturers once again, with BMW 4th and 5th. Jesse Krong now up into 4th position as our timing just resets itself. Connor De Filippi a little further back, then it's Magnussen, Ryan Briscoe and Patrick Pilet for your top 8, with Colin Brown closing in on those guys, trying to get back through the field towards the back of the DPI. Back to the back of the DPI field. So I wonder if 1 or 2 teams at the back, maybe Ryan Briscoe is on a fuel save at the moment. Shea Adam is on the pit lane and has the opportunity to assess how deep the guys are going into turn 1 at least.
He was coasting a pretty good distance into turn 1. And remember, the 67 Ford GT shared with Richard Westbrook was the car that got the first ever win for the Ford GT. That was at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca a few years ago, and they won that on fuel mileage.
Yes, that was the infamous fluffy pink slipper race, wasn't it, for Richard Westbrook. Soft-pedalled that car to fuel mileage that most teams could only dream about. So, Dane Cameron, and for the first time in a wee while, just a tenth of a second taken out of the leader by Ollie Jarvis. But that is because the number 6 Acura DPI, the Acura Team Penske car, is mired in traffic that is battling massively. And that's always a time of intense concentration for the drivers. Fastest lap of that, the 54 Nissan's race, 1:15.4. That's pretty quick in traffic for Colin Brown. The leader only did a 15 flat and a 14.7 last time around for Ollie Jarvis. So that is good running from Colin Brown, as those guys are on a completely different strategy. He's trying to have a look at the number 5. Big scrape down the 5. Left-hand side of the 5, where Elio Castroneves drove into him earlier on. And it's going to need a little bit of remedial work on the livery at least. Is there something hanging off that car as well, or is it just a bit of the... No, there's damage just behind the left rear wheel, and that was where it happened. Also a lot of mud on that car as well. So they've been, in those early tussles, must have been close to or over the edge. The worry would be that whatever it is that's hanging under the rear guard, the rear wheel arch, would be rubbing on the Michelin tyre there. Another fastest lap for Colin Brown, his personal one. He's down in the 14.6s now. And only Ryan Hunter-Reay faster than him last time around in the third placed Mazda. Here's our Cadillac in-race update. Acura leading by 5.8 seconds. Just coming down a wee bit. So Ollie Jarvis in second, 6 from 77. Ryan Hunter-Reay in the second of the Mazdas, the 55. Here's another 9.7 further back in GT Le Mans. Chevrolet Corvette lead by half a second. The number 4 of Tommy Milner ahead of Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais got company too. Another half a second further back, the 912 Porsche. Lawrence Vanter in GTD. Trent Hitman has hit the front for Acura, and the number 86 Maishank racing car. Richard Highstand, the pole sitter, nearly 4 seconds back now, but some 5 seconds ahead of Will Hardiman in third position, in the 19 Audi. And Christina Nielsen from the back of the field to 4th in GTD in just about half an hour. And news coming from the organisers that car 96, the Turner Motorsport BMW, officially retired. Heavy frontal damage we saw on that car earlier on. Jeremy Shaw, your thoughts about the first almost half an hour's worth of racing?
Cool, crikey, you're right. Almost half an hour already. Yeah, really interesting, isn't it? Dane Cameron just doing a masterful job out front, negotiating the traffic. The gap ebbs and flows. Is running around about 6 seconds now between the Acura in first place and the first of the Mazdas in second. Ryan Hunter-Reay, he's turning some good laps. He's about 8 seconds further back in third place in car number 55. And then Pipo Derani in the best of the Cadillacs. His best lap in the race so far is a 1:13.1. And that's the best of the rest. The top 3 are definitely in a class of their own at the moment in the overall DPI ranks. Further back, though, is a super battle in GTLM, as we expected.
Always.
But once again, it was the Corvette that got the power down early on. I think taking advantage of a big front-engine car, the grunt at the start of the race, particularly with the jump start penalty for number 911 Porsche. That's enabled the Corvette and Tommy Milner to lead this race in GTLM.
But Pele is now only 13 seconds behind Ryan Briscoe in 7th in that class, despite that drive-through penalty. The Corvette just getting away a bit that lap by about a second on the rest of the field. From the Ford in second, then Lawrence Vanter, and then Jesse Krohn is right there. Top, well, the leader's sideways going into turn 1, going up the inside of the number 44 Magnus Racing Lamborghini. That was a very, very squirrely moment for Tommy Milner in the lead GT Le Mans car. May have lost some of that gap he's just built up, but then 3 cars under a second, third and fourth. That's Ford, Porsche and BMW, with prototypes fighting their way through there. And coming through the field is the number 84 of Simon Trummer, the bright yellow car there at the top of turn 5 at the moment, and heading down the hill to turn 6, and there's all kinds of traffic there. And still that Lamborghini, the Magnus car, right in the mix as well, doing his best to stay out of the way. Good driving by John Potter, who started that dark graphite grey machine. Problem is, these GT cars are so quick. If the prototypes have a trouble, Tommy Milner got up the inside and just found a little bit of slippery tarmac. John Potter just looked like John might have been going to turn in. I think he had seen him. Tommy wasn't taking any chances there. Modified his line, locked the car up, and then managed to get through turn 2 at the keyhole. Well, we've already seen one tactical throw of the dice with Colin Brown installed in the 54 Nissan, so he's got about 10 minutes more fuel than everybody else, pitted on lap 9, at the end of lap 9. It was a drive-through pit stop at the end of lap 5 for Patrick Pilet. Great dive down the inside for Colin Brown coming back through the field, but as he did that, he forced the Junkos Racing Cadillac at turn 1. Oh, well, I say that. Actually, Will Owen just went back onto his racing line and clipped the BMW of Conor De Filippi.
Yeah, the battling is going on there in GTLM, as of course we expected. Tommy Milner, though, he's edged out just a little bit on the last lap. He's had a little bit of a break through some traffic. He's edged out a couple of seconds over Sebastian Bourdais. Come across the line this time, and there's one DPI car between them. There's another one going past. That's Colin Brown to the inside, heading towards turn 1. Colin Brown really is doing very well indeed. Again, this team, very little track time here in dry conditions. Same for everybody, of course, that is. But Colin Brown clearly has got a good handle on that car, and he's working his way through. He's turning some very respectable lap times indeed. A 14.6 is best. It's not quite up with the front runners, but still a good bounce back.
Great battle, Misha Goikberg and Will Owen, and Goikberg goes back ahead there. Colin Brown fighting his way through the DPIs. He's on an absolute tear, but off the lead lap at the moment. He's just got a lap back from Renger van der Zande. The Wayne Taylor Racing Knighton Minolta DPI VR, not on the pace. Best of the Cadillacs, Pipo Derani in 4th position, and he's 24 seconds away from the leaders. The Japanese manufacturers holding sway here, although Acura will tell you they've got roots that run very deeply in this part of the world. And the manufacturing plant just up the road here in Ohio. Dane Cameron by 5.4 seconds. Ollie Jarvis just beginning to nibble into that lead now. Was up over 8 seconds, now down to 5.4.
And in GTD, it's still Trent Hinman who leads pretty comfortably now over Richard Heitland. He's pulled out about 8.5 seconds. In 3rd position is Will Hardeman. He's about 10 seconds back in 3rd and doing a really fine job there. But up behind Hardeman now, having found a way past Christina Nielsen, Zachary Rubichon in a FAF, that plaid Porsche, car number 9. Good 3-car battle there for 3rd place in GTD, with number 19 Audi ahead of the Porsche number 9 and the Acura number 57. Not too far behind them, or actually right behind them, is Frankie Montecalvo in the 2nd of the AIM Vassar Sullivan Lexus cars.
Let's go down to Shea Adam in the pit lane. Performance Tech tweaking. We're back to the garage for a quick fix. We've put a new rear on the car and we'll rejoin the race. I think that must mean a rear deck on that car, or maybe a rear tyre, but I don't know whether they would go to the garage for that. Change of position in GTD before we get an update from GTLM. I've been told that that's not a lumberjack shirt, it's a tin of shortbread, the number 9. Well, Zachary Robichon is making positions up and now into 3rd position in GT Daytona behind Eric Heistand for Lexus, who's in 2nd in the 14, and Trent Hinman in the 86. Shea Adam.
we're about to see Patrick Pilet come onto the pit lane. The 911 crew is ready for him. But yeah, the 38 pit box for Performance Tech is currently abandoned. They are back in the garage. It's actually a new wing cluster on the back, so not the engine cover, but the wing. So that's part of the issue for Performance Tech. But the mechanics are actually motioning as if they're going to bring the car potentially in behind the wall, which is interesting. Patrick Pilet now in the pit lane. He's rumbling down. Maybe the crew guy's just trying to let everybody know to try and steer clear of Patrick, but they have 4 new Michelin tires that were scrubbed in by Patrick this morning. He came to a stop sideways in the box. He's getting out. Patrick's day is done. Nick Tandy getting in. Right side tires are done. They're now coming around to work on the left. And the rear tire changer, Neil, it was his birthday the other day, so happy belated birthday, Neil. Just fuel going on, and the left front, no, they dropped the car, and the left front tire is not yet on. They kept calm. They managed to put the car back on. They got it all done before the fueling was done, so hopefully that didn't break anything in the left front suspension, but that was not an ideal Porsche pit stop.
How very unusual. How Porsche keys to the race. Be flexible. I think they were a bit close to the wall was the issue with that as he slid in, as described by Shea Adam. But Tandy is out. What a great weekend. Last weekend for Nick Tandy in the VLN. Drove a stunning race in the most terrible conditions. And drove to a win in VLN 3. Coming down to 2 hours and 8 minutes to go. Here's our Cadillac in-race update, leading by 4.3 seconds now. Dane Cameron, the 6 Acura Mazda, number 77, Ollie Jarvis, the pole sitter in second, Ryan Hunter-Ray, 18 seconds further back in third. Fourth position for Pipo Derani is the best of the Cadillacs. Then Elio Castroneves with that bodywork damage in fifth position. And running off the top 6, Joao Barbozza in the dark grey number 5 Mustang sampling car. Gtlm has Chevrolet Corvette number 4, ahead by 2 seconds of Lawrence Van Toor, the 912 Porsche in second, by 0.6 of a second from Sebastian Bourdais, who's got half a second from his Ford to the nose of Jesse Kroon's number 24 BMW Team RLL M8 GTE. And in GTD, Acura bossing it at the moment. The 86 car with Trent Hitman on board by 11.5 seconds from the bright yellow and black number 14 Lexus of Richard Highstand. And then in third, Zachary Robichon for that tartan-coloured car in third position. Below that, I don't think there's a second between any of the next 8 cars, all the way down to 11th position. And Chase Parker's in 10th, actually. They're all in a big, long line. That's your Cadillac in-race update. Cadillac V-Series. This way races don't take time off. Shea Adam.
It's getting busy down here, John. There are a lot of teams that have all of a sudden jumped up onto the pit wall, including the number 7 Acura Team Penske with a new nose. So I think the priority for them during this pit stop, yes, they'll do the tires, they'll do the fuel, but as soon as they're done with the tires, they're going to focus on putting a new nose on Elio's car.
Thank you very much indeed. Hello to Leighton Searle on the way back from Brands Hatch, listening to us in the UK. Come on, he says, Ollie Jarvis, Mazda supporter there, listening around the world on IMSA Radio, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. Good to have your company. This has been extraordinary. We went full green here last year. I'm going to say it, you can blame Hindhoff. There's the hashtag if it all goes wrong in the next couple of minutes. But this has been extraordinary concentration from all of the drivers, not just the prototype drivers, Jeremy Shaw, who are scything through the traffic, but what about the GT drivers who are having their own battles as well? They've got to have their wits about them because they're fighting and having the faster cars coming through. Yeah, look, it's a workout for everybody out there right now. It's not easy. The good news is there's a bit of track temperature now with the sun. It's fairly weak, but at least the sun's sort of out, so that's going to help everybody. But it's really, there's no time to relax out there. This is a really challenging race mentally and physically. And across from me, Shea Adam, I see the 77 crew on the wall. Are my eyes deceiving me? No, that's about right. It's almost ready.
Yeah, it's
35 minutes, yeah.
This time around, it looks like, from the attention being paid by the Mazda pit stop mechanics. And a little further down, the pit board is also down for the number 3 Corvette, so it's about to get busy.
It's a bit earlier than I would have expected for the GT cars. Expected them to go a little deeper into the race, but 40 minutes is what we were told to expect from the prototypes. Now maybe this is Mazda Team Yost just trying to get in and slightly out of sequence. Not sure if the performance advantage of having hot tyres and coming back out onto the track will give them a better time delta. Here's Ollie Jarvis, comes to his marks now.
And the car goes up on the air jacks. They do have 4 new Michelin tires that have been lightly scrubbed in the morning warm-up that will be going on the car. As the number 3 of Jan Magnussen rumbles past, but still work going on down at the Mazda. They're doing a drinks bottle change for Ollie. He is staying aboard the car and will have all 4 tires changed. Just waiting on the fuel at this point. Car comes off the air jacks. Everything was perfectly clean. The driver change is happening in the number 3, so it's Antonio Garcia and 4 Michelin tires going on that as well. They are scrubbed rubber as Ollie Jarvis leaves the pit lane. This is one track that Antonio Garcia has never won at. He's hoping to change that today. Beautiful pit stop by Danny Banks and the Corvette guys and girls.
And also by the Mazda. So 4 scrubbed Michelin tires going on to both of those first pit stoppers there, with just over 2 hours and 3 to go. Ollie Jarvis rejoins. That was the man from Portugal. But we've got Antonio Garcia now installed into the number 3. And here it has started it all. Here comes the leader into the pit lane. Acura Tincknell and Dane Cameron.
And Dane Cameron will be staying in the pit lane with me because Juan Pablo Montoya has his seat insert in hand, and he will be jumping into that car that came in from the lead of the race. They are also doing 4 scrubbed Michelin tires on this car. They do not yet have the new right rear. There it is. Wow, that was pretty late coming around the side of the car. Now they get all 4 tires secured. The door is still open as the driver change is still going on. Fuel nozzle is still attached. Car comes off the air jacks. 22, 23, 24 showing up on the side. It should get to 32 before that car starts to roll, as the other Acura Penske is in. That would be the number 7. And at the 30-second mark, so exactly on time for fuel, that car leaves the number 7. Work going on there. Ricky Taylor jumps in as Elio Castroneves is out. They are changing the rear tires first and putting a new nose on that car. They had it sitting up on the wall since the initial contact, but didn't decide to bring him in early to change it. New nose is going on, and then they will put the new scrubbed Michelin tires onto the front. Now, there they go. Fuel nozzle is still attached. Remember, this is the car that had a Shimano on lap 1. Now they're losing time because the fuel hose is out. The car is still up on the air jacks as they are making sure the nose gets in. It is scrubbed rubber, by the way. They did do work on that in morning warm-up. Still a slow trouble with the left front, but the car, new nose, fully repaired and fully Ricky Taylored up for this next stint.
Yeah, that did cost a little bit of time. Remember, that was the car. Elio Castroneves qualified it with a broken nose because he ran into the back of Pipo Derani early on in the qualifying session when everybody was still warming up their tyres. And is that the 31 car coming in? I speak of Pipo Derani, and he heads to the pit lane, Shane.
And he speaks for himself when he comes down the pit lane and rumbles by, and the Cadillac goes down to the first pit box because he and Philippe Nazir come in as the championship leaders. It is not time for Pipo to get a break yet, though, as the sister car also comes in to join him. They are doing scrubbed rubber on that car as well. That will be the news of the day for the number 31. And fuel, let's see for the number 5 if Joao Barbozza is staying aboard. No, he is not. So it is Philippe Albuquerque getting into the number 5, the car that came in 3rd in the championship. And they also are doing a tire change, but that is also scrub rubber. The number 25 BMW is in. That is still Tom Blancas behind the wheel, but he got new tires and fuel. So far, everybody we've seen has done tires and fuel. Nobody playing it tricky on the strategy yet. Tire change still going on. The Mustang sampling Cadillac. That's the last car we're waiting for on the pit lane. And the fuel is going on. And good burnout, Philippe. That'll get heat into those Michelins.
I think I've got an idea why everybody's changing tyres as the muddied and battle-scarred number 5 Mustang sampling car goes out. I think this sunshine, I think everybody started on quite high starting pressures, and I'm seeing quite a bit of graining on the inside shoulders of some of these tyres that are coming off the prototypes, and I just wonder if they've started slightly too high in the pressure, so they'll just bang another, they'll repressure the tyres and bang another set of Michelins on. That's exactly what's going on at the 55. So it may be that this sunshine and the rapidly increasing temperatures have caught out the guys in the prototypes. And Adam, let's go back to you.
The car that I think is already on a fuel-safe strategy, thanks to lead engineer Brad Goldberg, because he does those kinds of things, that is having a driver change. And the shoes, John, the shoes were pink, but there is drama because the 67 Ford GT was dropped off the air jacks before the right rear tire was attached. They did have it on the car, though, so it was just properly seated, just not fully attached. That is Richard Westbrook taking that car back out with new tires. And in the number 10, the Koenigsegg Cadillac, that is Renger van de Zande out, and Jordan Taylor slightly lighter than he was for the first few races of the season because he's down in appendix. He is getting behind the wheel of the number 10. They are doing what looks like brand new tires on that car. Those do not look scrubbed at all. Those Michelins are still very much shiny, like the black Cadillac itself. Just waiting on the fuel as the tire change is done. Everything perfect there. Should be gone within another 4 seconds.
Here's the battle coming up to turn number 2 round the outside. It's the number 7. That is Ricky Taylor desperately trying to get track position. We talked about it in our Porsche Keys to Rig. Philippe Albuquerque's trying to hold on to 8th position at the moment as out comes Jordan Taylor. Ryan Hunter-Reay's rejoined as well, and Ryan Hunter-Reay is in behind traffic as well. He is behind, I think that's Pipo Derani that he's in behind. Yes, it is.
He's just lost the position therefore, because Pipo Derani came in the lap before the number 55 for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Philippe Albuquerque and Ricky Taylor having a good battle at turn number 2 a moment or two ago, and I think there might have been a little touch on the number 67 Ford that was in amongst it as well. Richard Westbrook had just come back out. Just on 2 hours to go. Here's your Cadillac in-race update. Acura by 7 seconds, so that's a 2-3 second gain through the pit stops. And they did change drivers as well. Juan Montoya now leads in the number 6 from the 77 Mazda DPI. Simon Trummer and Misha Goikberg in the 84 and 85 JDC cars are both in the pits. That will have Pipo Derani cycling back to 3rd position ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay in the 55 Cadillac. In GT Le Mans, Corvette number 4 still leads. His teammate has made a stop, but none of the top 3 in GTLM. In fact, none of the top 4 in GTLM have made their first stop yet. Tommy Milner, Lawrence Van Toorn, the 912 Porsche in second. Then Sebastian Bourdais, who's dropped back a little bit. He's dropped back some 9 seconds. Then 3/10 further back from that is Jesse Krong. So there's been a little bit of jiggery-pokery there. There's a good battle going on for 7th position as Nick Tandy and Richard Westbrook, old fighters they are, they've had plenty of battles down through the years. Into turn 4, Tandy round the outside, new position. That's a change. 7th now for Nick Tandy in the 911. Remember, that car has been through the pit lane for a drive-through penalty. McLaren and Audi got together. Parker Chase and Matt Plum on the exit of turn 2 seemed all a bit unnecessary. Parker Chase comes off the worst. He's on the grass for the longest. But how has the damage gone in that? And have they had any damage? The traffic. So many parts of this circuit are single line only, just one groove. And if you get caught in there, it doesn't matter how quick your car is, it's follow my leader until the next piece of straight. Under 2 hours to go, Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, and a lot of strategy to be played out yet. That was a shame for those two to get together. Parker Chase was, I think, trying to make a move on the McLaren. They've been dicing long and hard there. Matt Plum is at the wheel of the McLaren, Parker Chase in the Audi, and there's a big train of cars there battling over what was effectively 4th position in GTD, so it's super tight. And
change of lead, Jeremy.
Okay, good.
Excuse me, in traffic, and Ollie Jarvis. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. Juan Montoya caught up in a phalanx of GTD cars, and Ollie Jarvis making his move, and there's a big bump and run as well, and it's the 57 car who's going to come off worst. Christina Nielsen in 5th in GTD. A huge sideways swipe by Will Hardiman. Let me just check these 2 cars that are going down through turn number 3 now, and by eye, yes, absolutely right. There were so many cars, so many different colours. It was like somebody had put a whole packet of M&Ms into a soup bowl and just swirled it around. But Ollie Jarvis does lead again from Juan Montoya.
Now, before the round of pit stops, the gap had come down from, it was as high as 8.4 seconds. That was back on lap 14. It was under 5 by the time the pit stop sequence began. Since then, since Juan Pablo Montoya took over from Dane Cameron, Jarvis has stayed at the wheel of that car, and he is absolutely flying. He was catching him rapidly, caught him by 2 seconds on that previous lap before making that move to the Mazda back into the lead. But there's still, as you said, John Hindhaugh, 2 hours to go. There's a replay of that incident between number 8 and the number 76 McLaren. It looks like to me the McLaren certainly got an assist from behind.
Now the 66 diving in the pits a moment or two ago, and then there was a side swipe from the 24 BMW on the Park Place Porsche, and that was when the lead changed. Ollie Jarvis sweeping to the inside, making it 3 wide with Juan Montoya and the leader in GT Daytona as they went across the line right in front of us. Extraordinary stuff. Let's take a quick update from Shea Adam.
GTD pit stops, which means the GTD minimum drive time has been met. John, the number 33 wins Mercedes is the first one to come in. I didn't see a driver change, but I would be shocked if Ben Keating didn't hop out. And Jerome Blake-Mullen got in that car. They did 4 new tires on that Mercedes. And the number 63, the Scuderia, of course, Ferrari is in. Tony Villander definitely got into that car because he waves his arm to signify where his co-driver should come in, no matter what he's driving. And I saw him doing that on the pit wall. Fuel and tires for the Ferrari as well. Magnus Racing number 44 is in. John Potter will be getting out, and Andy Lally will be taking over. Heard from Andy a little bit earlier on. He is very excited for the opportunity. The sticker Michelin's going on to the number 44 Magnus Racing Lamborghini. And we had the 66 Ford GT for a pit stop. Joey, you'll be proud to know the boys did you well. They did a beautiful pit stop, got the car turned around in 27 seconds with the driver change. It's Dirk Mueller's turn.
Now that little bump and run that we were talking about between the number 19 Audi and Christina Nielsen in the Acura NSX, she's heading to the pit lane. A slight steering problem, the report from Christina. They'll take a look at that and work out if it's bad enough for them to have to do any work on it. It was a bit of an attack as well by the number 8 Audi of Chase Parker on the Matt Plum McLaren. Dived up the inside where there wasn't really room and turned him around, and he has got incident responsibility to him, so he'll have to come through the pit lane for a drive-through. More GTD stops.
The car that effectively comes in as the championship leader is the number 12 Lexus. That is seeing Frankie Montecalvo out and Townsend Bell getting in. Hopefully he keeps it out of the mud today, and I can say that because he's just gotten into the car. We also have the number 19 More Speed Audi, the only car that did not run morning warm-up. That has just had a driver change. Alex Rivera took over from Will Hardiman. And in the number 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini, that is now Brian Sellers, who has taken the car from Brian Hardwick. And Brian Sellers, who said this morning, I am not leaving this place without a trophy. He's got a bit of work to do, but if anyone can do it, it certainly is the Ohio native. We also have the GTD leader in as, no, we've got the Lexus in from the GTD. That's the number 12, the car that started at 14, that started on the pole. Richard Highstand is in. Let's see if Jack Hawksworth is getting his turn to play. Hits the marks perfectly. Yes, I see the green helmet jump off the wall. Fuel and tires for the 14 Lexus as well, as it looks like the Wins Mercedes is slow on track, John.
Yeah, and he's run into the back of another car and it's popped the bonnet. The 33, Jerome Blake-Mullen. Now, he doesn't normally make those kinds of mistakes, but it's absolutely nailed the front of that car, and there's already steam coming out. Jerome will be crouching down to look underneath the upturned bonnet. It was a prototype that was in front of him. And did he just miss his braking point? Yes, he did. And careered into the back of the number 85 of Misha Goikberg in 8th position. He'd been passed by both the 85 and the number 10 car, and not sure really what was happening there. Fastest lap still at 1:12.4 for Ollie Jarvis, who is back in the lead of the race, but only by half a second. Now, can Jerome get that round? It happened on the braking area to turn 2. 57 going back out again. And Christina Nielsen, remember, brought that car in with a report of some steering issues. Shea.
They did no work whatsoever to the steering, so Catherine Lake, who has taken the car over, will go out and discover just how jaunty the steering wheel angle is. Took the last time she drove the car in morning warm-up.
She's getting up to speed and has to concentrate with a huge gaggle of cars coming through the first corner. In comes the 24 BMW. Jesse Krong for his first pit stop. He comes in from third position, and that's a good run for Jesse early on. He's out of the car.
And interestingly, those are shiny Michelin tires going on to the 24 BMW, so not scrubbed rubber. They did go out and scrub in some tires during morning warm-up, but clearly, John, with the conditions changing, it's just what you said. You don't know what you've got underneath you, and it's not going to take as long to get the heat into the tires for John Edwards, a man who has finished second at this track in IMSA competition, but never the top step of the podium. He is cleared to go, and the pilot, John Edwards, takes off.
Oh, very good, yeah. I see what you did there. Battle for second position overall. Make that third position overall, excuse me. As Ryan Hunter-Ray has closed down again on Pipo Durrani, who is 12 seconds behind second place, and right in front of them at the moment, they've got traffic. Here comes Ryan Hunter-Ray. Oh, big lock up into the carousel for the prototype in front of the 31. Let's just watch this for a moment as they go across the line as this battle continues. Blinker-Mullen has made it into the pit lane. Shea Adams going to watch that as that battle between Ryan Hunter-Ray and Pipo Durrani, just 0.4 of a second between them, as in also comes Tommy Milner from the lead of Gtlm.
Fuel and tires for Tommy Milner, so it is not yet time for Yardley Hastings' finest Corvette driver to get behind the wheel of that car. They are working on that stop. Everything looks like it's going according to plan. For the number 33, things could not be further than from the plan for Bill Riley's men and women. They are Bondo taping the hood, but there is a lot of damage to that car. The nose is actually pushed back in, and the signal has just been given. They are going to take the 33 Mercedes behind the wall.
Oh, that's such a shame.
Yeah.
I think that was a Jerome mistake, though. The 85 car battling with the 10, the two prototypes, Misha Goldberg and Renger van der Zande. It looked like Misha had just ran long, and I just wonder if there was a bit of aero taken away from the front of the Mercedes AMG, and that caused Renger's issue. Oh, change of position. Ryan Hunter-Ray is back past and into third position. Pipo Durrani back down to fourth, so Mazda's now first and third, with Montoya in between them in the Acura. Cadillac now in fourth place, the red-white wheeling car. As the 33 Riley Motorsport Mercedes is being pushed. This is extraordinary stuff. Now, out of what is effectively now the lead of the GT Le Mans category, Lawrence Van Tour. How quickly can they turn around that car? Can they jump the number 4 Corvette, Shea Adam?
As quickly as humanly possible, I think, is the answer to that one, John. Earl Bamber taking over for Larry, so the driver change is complete. They are doing the tires and waiting on the fuel, as the right side tires have already been changed. Those look like scrub rubber to my eye, but they could be brand new. Just waiting now. The car drops off the air jacks. Everything perfect according to plan on that Porsche pit stop, so well done 912 crew. They're one up on the 911. Just waiting on the fuel nose still attached, and brake lights come off. Earl does give that burnout about a 4 out of 10. That's not going to get much heat into the tires, but he's got plenty of time to do that on circuit.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane, Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhoff in the IMSA Broadcast Centre. I've just looked up the word intense in the dictionary as Earl Bamber rejoins right in front of the Jordan Taylor Cadillac DPI and gave him no room on the exit at all. Jordan had to take to the grass. Yes, if you look up the word intense in the dictionary, I'm actually watching a video of this race right now. It is the definition of crazy bonkers good.
Gosh,
this is exactly what we need. Beautiful stuff, and still an hour and 46 minutes to go. We've not yet had a full hour of racing, and we've had so much incident and action out on the track. Brilliant stuff from all of the teams and drivers. Damage to the left rear of the number 66 Dirk Muller Ford GT. He's lost the rear brake light and most of the rear guard and wheel arch. I think it's on the track just on the exit of turn 4, which is where he is at the moment, but it was gone before he got there this time around, as through goes Ryan Hunter-Ray between the Porsche and the Ford, who are battling for position down in 5th and 6th in GT Le Mans. This is extraordinary stuff, Jeremy. When do we get to take a breath? Imagine what it's like for the drivers out there at the moment. There is no respite at all. 19,
no.
Alex Riberas now behind the wheel of the Audi, and he's just gone through. Is he off the lead lap? No, he's still there. Just gone through the S's. Good battle going on as well, further back down the field.
So he's finally found a way past. I was just going to say that the number 6 car of Juan Pablo Montoya is kind of stuck behind a number 50 car, which is the first car a lap down in 10th position after the round of pit stops. He's finally now, though, found his way past, so he's going to be able to set sail and hopefully catch up, he thinks, to Oliver Jarvis. But Jarvis having grasped an opportunity in traffic early on and taking... really doing a nice job. I mean, Montoya was just picking his way through the traffic and allowed Jarvis to close in. He made the pass, and now he's trying to stay with him.
And he's opened up a 2-second lead, Ollie Jarvis, and 171.5 miles an hour through the speed trap for Mazda number 77. 173 miles an hour for Colin Brown in the Nissan number 54, the Core Autosport car. Everybody else around the 169, 170 mark. And
that Nissan is hanging on at the tail end of the lead lap. He's going to have to make a pit stop fairly soon, I would say, in another next lap or two, most likely for car number 54, but he is kind of holding off the number 77 of Oliver Jarvis, hoping for a yellow, hoping to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's got good mileage out of that. Last pitted on the end of lap 9, and we're now working lap 8, number 43. Yes, lap 8 going into 9. Yes, sorry. End of lap 8, sorry.
So he's done now 35 laps. 35 laps? Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, nobody else did anything more than 33.
32 was the most.
33,
yeah.
It's the IMSA WeatherTech Sprint Cup first round, of course, here at Mid-Ohio. A championship within a championship for the GT Daytona cars. And that at the moment led by Zachary Robichon. 2 Porsches, by the way, now first and second, but they have not stopped in GTD. Neither the 9, which is the shortbread box, or the 73, which is the dark grey with the darks. Neither of those cars have made their first pit stops yet.
And nor has Trent Hinman, who remains out in front. Boy, there's a close battle as they head towards turn 1 between number 84 and number 10. That's a battle for 7th place. There's battles all the way up and down the field, aren't there? This is great stuff.
Well, they're going deep into the race here, Jeremy. They've run nearly an hour in those GTDs, which is what we were told would possibly be able to do. But they've done a long first stint. If they can do that in the second, they'll have a very short final stint. Or do they do a short middle stint and then fill at the first possible opportunity? It's all getting very, very tight here. A bit of a moment for the 912, who got a clip, trying to avoid the debris on the road, and Earl Bamber was clipped by Tom Milner, and they're coming through the carousel now to end the lap, and there's some bodywork damage, under bodywork damage to the right rear of the 912, coming out of turn 2, excuse me. So that's exactly what happened at Long Beach. Both the same cars involved. Milner close in under braking for turn 4. Magnificent stuff in every class at the moment. Montoya has taken almost a full second out of Ollie Jarvis's lead in the last couple of laps.
And here now comes Colin Brown into the pit, so lap 44 for him. That's a really, really good effort to try and run a good pace and stay on the lead lap. The gamble hasn't quite paid off because they needed a caution. If they'd had a caution, they'd be back in the game, but now they're going to fall a lap down again. So they've got to hope for more of the same later on in the race. Perhaps there'll be another caution that comes to their favour later on, but it's been caution-free so far. 45 laps completed by the race leaders, and we're just over an hour into the race.
We'll catch up with some of the drivers who have jumped out the cars, maybe get a chance to chat to some of the teams in the pit lane as well. But so intense at the moment. Everybody is focused on strategy, on pace, and on the battles on the track, where it's Porsche versus Corvette at the head of GT Le Mans. Just a couple of streaks and a bit of the underfloor at the back shaved off the Earl Bamber car, which was 912 in second position now. Antonio Garcia leading by 7 seconds. Then it's the second of the Corvettes in third. So Corvette, Porsche, Corvette, BMW now the top 4. Separated by 8 seconds, those 4 cars. I literally don't know where to look, Jeremy. Either on the timing screen, on the screens out the window. There is so much going on. A lot of blue lighting up our timing screens at the moment, as Catherine Legg's just done her car's fastest lap of the race, a 1:21.8 in that 57 GTD Acura, 6th position for her, but she's under pressure from Townsend Bell.
Yeah, and Catherine taking over after an excellent first stint from Christina Nielsen. Boy, the Corvette there doing a wheelie over the
turn 9.
Yeah, wow, yikes! That was spectacular.
Front
wasn't it?
wheels off the ground for a good 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah, the race leaders, by the way, number 77, number 6, they're pretty much nose to tail. Well, not quite nose to tail, but pretty close together on the racetrack now. With number 54 car out of the way, that's given them a little bit of a clear track. Well, actually, no, it hasn't, because right ahead of them now is a battle for 7th place between number 84, still driven by Simon Trummer, and Jordan Taylor, who's taken over from Renger van der Zande. So those two were battling for 7th and 8th and trying to stay on the lead lap.
Quick note for Will Owen has just done the Young Cost Racing Cadillac's fastest race lap, a 1:19. Check that, a 1:13.9.
Yeah, and he's trying to hang in there as well with that.
On the end of the lead lap.
Yeah, he's a little bit further back, but after the incident with the Mercedes.
Brian Sellers, 1:21.8. And that's his
so
best.
Here are the two leaders coming up to the keyhole, right behind the number 84 Cadillac and number 10 Cadillac. Not often you see Jordan Taylor about to be lapped, is it? But he lost some
7th and 8th
ground early on.
Simon Trummer in the 84, Jordan Taylor in the 10. The two JDC cars did go very, very long. 84 and 10.
That's that battle.
That was that battle we saw earlier on. That is under review, as we can hear from Porsche driver Laurens Vanthoor.
Well, Laurens, it's a bit of deja vu going back to Long Beach, but things worked out pretty well for you guys at Long Beach. Any worry about the floor of your car?
Honestly, I haven't seen anything about it yet. Earl hasn't complained so far, so it should be fine. Maybe need to speak to Elliot if they found the game to hit us in the diffuser. Maybe need to hit him a bit when we go biking, but I hope they don't do it on purpose. But up to now, everything is fine, and we don't have any issue.
What about this weather? All of a sudden it's beautiful, and how has that been affecting the Michelin tires? Everybody's been going to new rubber instead of the scrub stuff.
Yeah, we've never had these conditions all week. Nobody. Not the temperature, not the sun, not the grip on the track. So it's a bit of guesswork. But for my stint, we look pretty good. I think we have good tire life, so hopefully we can play our strength in the end.
Hey, fingers crossed, 2 in a row.
Thank you.
Laurens Vanthoor with Shea Adam, Earl Bamber in the 912, second at the moment, but 8 seconds away from the lead. At the head of the field, the battle is joined again, and they're in traffic again as the leader comes round to put another lap on that number 9 Porsche, just out of the pits with Scott Hargrove. So the Porsche number 9 has made its stop
last time around. And now the second place car, Marco Seefried, also making its first pit stop. Car number 73 for Park Place. Marco's done a really excellent job today. Yesterday he put it off on the first lap, which was not what the team wanted, but a really good drive today. He's up into second place at the moment, mainly because everybody else has pitted, but he's certainly driven well. And that car leaves the number 86 as the only car yet to make its first pit stop.
So Patrick Long has climbed into the number 73. Hello to Patrick Lindsay, who I'm sure is tuned in somewhere. Was racing in Spa in the snow-affected WEC 6 hours yesterday. Yes, I did say snow-affected. Meanwhile, back in GTLM here, 91 finally gets by Dirk Muller. Nick Tandy goes past Dirk Muller, and that's a new 5th position. And that is Porsche now 2nd and 5th. Chevrolet Corvette 1st and 3rd. BMW 5th and 8th. That's how the manufacturers spread out in the GT Le Mans category. Still waiting for this first pit stop by Trent Hitman. He's gone over an hour and 4 minutes. He's in the pit lane. There's a slow Corvette. It's the 3rd place car. In fact, it was the... Yes, it is the 3rd place car. Tom Milner. It's Tommy Milner going slowly down the front straight. How is he going to get that all the way back round? He missed the pit lane entrance. He couldn't get it in. And this is big drama as the leader in GT Daytona comes in. Shea's going to keep an eye on that, but we must keep watching this number 4 car. There's drive on the car, but that's about all. It's not making any kind of pace at all. up the hill, already dropped the position. Let's go to Shea Adam with a pit stop for the GT Daytona leader.
Best news is that Trent Hitman got out of the car, so we can ask him just how he made those fuel numbers, because that was quite the performance. Super Mario Farnbacher strapped in to the number 86, wearing Auto Nation colors for the month of May. The pink on this Acura. Super Mario has the look that he is in the zone, just waiting on fuel. Beautiful job by the MSR crew to get all 4 Michelin tires changed, and they are brand new by the looks of them. They still have a bit of shine on them. Just waiting on the fuel, and it should come out now, and it does. Bye, Mario. See you later.
Yeah, about an hour and 35 minutes later. That was an hour and 4 minutes for Trent Hinman, and it wasn't as if he was soft pedaling that car, Jeremy. That's extraordinary fuel numbers for that drive pink Auto Nation number 86 MSR car. Now, what has happened? First of all, has he got out without losing the lead? Mario Farnbacher, I'm looking back down the circuit. It's the Jack Hawksworth car that should have come round, and I think it has gone round, has it? Yes, it has. So the cars that stopped earlier have had a performance advantage with the new Michelin tyres, and I think they've jumped them in the pit stop. I'll see them when they come round next time around. Meantime, the number 4 is still touring, but it is still going. That's the good news for everybody else. It's not great news for Corvette fans. It's made it to the carousel, and now into the pit lane. Shea Adam has stationed herself to the Corvette pit. No damage to this car, Shea, and I think it's got air in all of the Michelin tyres. It's certainly got power from the V8 engine, but that was a long lap and a very odd situation, almost like he went into a limp home mode. Is he going to stop in his pits, or is he going straight behind the wall?
Oh, he's going straight behind the wall, John. The Ford Corvette just can't get any sort of luck.
Ollie Gavin not even getting into that car today. I suspect that they know what that was. We've had a couple of belts jumping off Corvettes in the past. I wonder if it's something there.
So Mario Farnbacher has retained the lead in GTD.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just come past to complete his 47th lap. Still waiting for the second place car of Jack Hawksworth. No, it's gone through. It's 15 seconds behind. It's the margin between first and second in GTD at the moment, but still with an hour and a half to go.
So going long did work. Quite often when you get the new tyres on, that helps you. But going long here has helped. They have retained their lead. We'll get a report on that Corvette as soon as we can from Shea Adam. Ollie Jarvis still at the head of the field, and for the moment has got with the JDC Miller cars between him and the charging one Montoya. Ollie will get out at the next stop, of course. No further action on the JDC and Konica Minolta car incident that they were looking at earlier on.
Battle for lead is intense again.
It is, but once again, as I've just said, they've put a car.
Yes,
put a car between
the Brady 4 car.
Ollie very, very aggressive through traffic. Kind of has to be with that little engine. Third position, Ryan Hunter-Reay. What a job he's doing. I know he's ways back at the moment, but solidly a couple of seconds ahead of Pipo Derani now, and the gap between second and third is 13 seconds.
Tell you what, that was a super lap there from Oliver Jarvis that time, a 13.7. That's the first time anybody has been down in the 13s
for a
since, oh, crikey. Well, very early on in the race.
Yeah,
so he must have had a clear lap there. He's taken full advantage. All of a sudden, the gap is 1.9 seconds, but he's going to need all of that gap because it's not going to be long before he comes up behind another knot of traffic.
Two Fords now together on track. The 66 easy to spot, not just because it has a slightly different shade of blue and red on it in the 2016 Le Mans winning colours, but it's missing most of the left rear bodywork over the top of the left rear Michelin tyre. Richard Westbrook closing in on his teammate Dirk Muller with the damaged car. Those two cars at the moment in 5th and 6th, the 66 and 67. Ford, rumour is that Ford will field 4 cars in 4 different liveries for Le Mans that echo their Le Mans heritage.
Oh, another great lap there from Ollie Jarvis, a 13.6.
Wow.
And for Juan Pablo Montoya, he's still stuck frustratingly behind that number 84 car driven by Simon Trummer. Can't find a way past him.
And meantime, Ollie Jarvis has passed a couple of other GTDs and the 2 Fords, and the gap goes out to 3.3 seconds across the line.
Yeah, but Montoya's been around this sport, even sports car racing, long enough to know that what the traffic taketh, it giveth back again later on if you're patient.
Well, yeah, that car took the lead under traffic, then lost it in the traffic as well. Mario Farnbacher leading in that black and pink. Number 86, the Drive Pink, Drive for Cancer Research and Cure. And he's down into turn 4 at the moment. Driven long into the race by Trent Hitman, that number 86 car, and that seemed to be the right strategy, because not only did they get good fuel mileage, but they've actually extended their lead after the pit stop, Adam.
Yeah, Trent Hitman, you not only drove away from the rest of the field during your stint, you did so in such a fashion that Mario now maintains the lead and has actually extended it through the pit stop. So what was your secret through that opening stint?
It was just all about staying calm, cool, patient. This is my first time ever racing a WeatherTech event around Mid-Ohio, so I've been around here quite a bit before. I love this track. I love the fact that it's Meyershank Racing's home race, Acura's home race. That definitely spurred us on a little bit more to make up some ground in the first couple laps there. But overall, the biggest thing for me was just the speed differential between the fastest cars and us in GTD, and just trying to stay cool and stay patient in traffic when we were getting past was really a challenge. But I think that's where we pulled out quite a bit of a gap. So along with that, obviously can't do this without a phenomenal car underneath here. That Acura NSX, awesome, absolutely killer. It looks great this weekend with AutoNation on board, but it's really down to the MSR guys and the way they tune on this thing, the way they set it up. It's been a good weekend so far. We still have about an hour and a half or so to go in the race, so I don't want to get too excited too soon.
Yeah, now comes the hard part, sitting on the pit box and watching. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, it is.
Trent Hitman has done a great job. Hello to Michael Hetherington, Mickey Heth, listening in on IMSA Radio, watching the pictures on IMSA TV. Alan Prosser says that Corvette that was nearly airborne earlier on, was that possibly caused by the DPI taking the downforce from the nose? Possibly, could be. Hello to Jemison Jones in North Carolina, getting excited for the Detroit Grand Prix. Say hello to all the corner workers. We always do that, Jemison, always do that. And Sarah Rigby is tuned in as well from the UK, from Crewe, the home of Bentley. Nip down the road, Sarah, and have a word with Brian Gush. Tell him he needs to get some GT3 cars over here. At IMSA Radio. Shea Adam, we've had a couple of retirements. The 96 Turner BMW went out with front damage after coming together on the opening lap, and the 4's gone behind the wall as well, the number 4 Corvette. What's the problem there?
Left rear axle has broken, but that's not a retirement yet. Don't count out Corvette Racing. Even if they can't win this race, they're going to get that car back out on track and learn for future events.
Sean Blankenship says, I feel it speaks volumes of IMSA that this kind of intensity is not surprising to see. That's a very good point, Sean. Thank you for tweeting in at IMSA Radio. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhoff, Shea Adam finding some way of catching our breath. The gelato has arrived in the studio. Good news.
Time to have some.
Good news for our support staff, and thank you very much indeed to Marion's Catering for thinking of us over on this side of things as well, because there's been no let up here, just under an hour and a half to go.
Definitely time for a caution, don't you think?
Stop it.
Yes, I'm kidding.
I'm sure Ollie Jarvis doesn't want that. 2.6 seconds, his lead has been trimmed back a little bit as he hits a little more traffic, and Juan Montoya behind him gets a bit of clear track, but now it's plain sailing for the moment for the 77 car. Lots of people back in Europe, coming up to 8 o'clock on a Sunday night in the UK. Lots of connections from Multimatic, who have a big base in the eastern part of England, and obviously their driver talent from over there as well. Hello to you all watching and or listening. Harry Tincknell will be watching as well with great interest to see how the 55 car's going. Well, I'll tell you, Ryan Hunter-Ray is doing a great job. Now only 12 seconds behind Juan Montoya in second place, with the top 3 cars separated by under 20 seconds and still on the lead lap.
Tell you what, Oliver Jarvis, he's really turning it on there. Another 13.4 last time around. 2 laps ago it was a 13.50, and this is a stunning pace from Oliver. He's still not managed to pull out very much. The last year's lap record, by the way, was a 1 minute 13.8. He's already in this race, Jarvis said a 1:12.410. That's a new lap record.
Fastest first lap, sectors for both
Acura.
Oliver Jarvis and Juan Montoya as the 7 comes in. That is the second of the Acuras. That is Ricky Taylor, who's into the pit lane. This is the damaged car from Juan Montoya from Elio's exploits earlier on. Shea Adam is watching.
Looks like the the right rear is also a little bit damaged too, as if the rear of that car is sticking up a bit. They've already changed the right side tires. Now they're going to work on the left rear, just putting fuel in the car and waiting on the fuel. That is the last thing to be done, as Ricky has asked for a tear off, and they now do that as well. Just the fuel to go on for the Penske pit stop, but this has not been a great day for them.
Cars away. One more pit stop for them to get them to the end. Where will they come out? Do they get a bit of clear track, or are they going to come out in traffic? I think they're going to come out roundabout where Will Owen is for Junkos Racing. Yes, he streaks by. And that means that they've dropped down in the pecking order, and also with traffic ahead of them. So doesn't quite get out into clear air. I suspect we're going to see the Masters coming in. Oh, and off. This is the 38 LMP2 car. They've had other troubles today. They put a new rear deck on turn 1. Extremely quick part of the circuit, but has regained the lead. We should say, by the way, that the 52, Matt McMurray, has been driving absolutely splendidly. Cameron Castle's the one that made the mistake and has covered the front of that 38 Sentinel Spine sponsored machine in grass. They've got the most exciting tear-offs I've ever seen on there, because they're sort of chrome, a bit like Chromaflare. Looks fantastic. It looks like a spaceship. Also helps with the glare today. They were the only ones who did that. They must have known what was going on.
1 minute 12.56 by a race leader. That's impressive. A 1 minute 12.9, by the way, for the second place car of Juan Pablo Montoya. So he's charging on. He actually went purple in sectors 1 and 2 last time around in Montoya. This time it's purple in sector 2 for Oliver Jarvis. They're really pushing hard at the front of the field, these two. It's a fantastic battle. There's about 3 seconds between them. That gap has pretty much stabilized now since they've worked their way through that traffic, and they're taking advantage of a little bit of a breather with not too much traffic over the last half dozen laps or so. And both of them, number 77 Oliver Jarvis and Juan Pablo Montoya, number 6, turning some very fast lap times.
So we're expecting pit stops from the leading prototypes anytime soon. Lap 28 was the last pit stop for Ollie Jarvis. We're now on lap 60. Lap 29, the last pit stop for the number 6 car when Juan Montoya got in the car. 77 should be changing driver next time around, Adam.
Yes, they should, because Tristan Nunez is ready to go. He was dancing around, as he is known to do. He often air drums before he starts a race, just to try and get his blood pressure down. As the 77 comes in perfectly on its marks, Oliver Jarvis having a little bit of trouble extracting himself from the Mazda, but I can't blame him. I wouldn't want to get out of that car either. They are doing the right front and left rear first. These are lightly scrubbed Michelin tires. They did 6 sets in the morning warm-up. They should only need 4 of them total. They are doing a drinks bottle change as well for Tristan. Cars come off the air jacks. They go for a windshield tear off and get it. Yep, just waiting on fuel as I slowly move out of the way. Tristan knocks it into gear. Rumbles past. Come on, Tristan.
Now again, what will be key here is where that car gets out on the track. Is in behind him from the what was 4th position. Comes Philippe Albuquerque from 5th position, my apologies. As the 10 and 50 continue to battle, Jordan Taylor and Will Owen. And already a fix for the Corvette number 4, Shea Adam. So they are on a point-scoring trail here.
And that's Oliver Gavin behind the wheel now as it comes out from behind the wall and stops in its box. They're going to do a quick check of everything, make sure they did it right, put a bit more fuel in the car, and then Ollie will get to turn laps here at Mid-Ohio. The number 6 Acura Team Penske is in. Juan Montoya brought it in. He will also be taking it back out as they are doing 4 scrubbed Michelins on that number 6 car, and a whole lot of fuel for Juan.
So now we need to watch to see where the 55, the 77 is. Tristan Nunez. That's a very good tyre stop from the Acura Team Penske guys. It's down off its jacks. He's been told to fire it up. Montoya does that, waiting on the fuel. Wait. 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm not sure that had fired there when they expected it to. 28 seconds stationary. Now, what about that dark red Mazda? Where is it? It's not on the front straight. I haven't seen it go past yet. Here it comes now. They're going to lose the lead and lose it by a decent margin. They came in with 3 or 4 seconds. And maybe the Acura have short-filled. Everybody still needs one more pit stop, Jeremy. This is what we said in our Porsche keys to the race. For the DPIs, 3 stops. But you might want to do something a little bit tricky to get track position.
We've still got 80 minutes to go in this race, so, you know, it's pretty tight on fuel, to be perfectly honest. You can't afford to short fuel that much.
Well, I reckon they were 3 seconds, probably 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds short of the maximum amount of fuel, which is 30 seconds.
Okay.
So they definitely short-fueled that car. That will not put them into the lead just yet, but of course other cars need to cycle through. Now Ryan Hunter-Reay is actually leading the motor race, but owes us a stop, of course. He last pitted at the end of lap 31, and we're on 63 now. So it won't be long before that 55 comes in. He's fighting his way through traffic at the moment. He's put a lap on Philippe Albuquerque. No, I don't think I've ever said that before. Put a lap on Philippe Albuquerque. Pico Durrani comes in from 2nd place in the Whelen Cadillac, the number 31 car. Red and white machine. And this will be full service and a driver change. Shea Adam.
Philippe Nasser will be taking over the points leading car coming into this weekend's event, as well as fuel and tires. We also had the 84 JDC Miller Motorsports, one of the 2 yellow Cadillacs come into the pit lane. That was Simon Tremor getting out and Steven Simpson getting in. Steven's going to be a very busy guy in the month of May. He is J.R. Hildebrand's spotter for the Indy 500. Fun stuff going on there. It was fuel and tires for that number 84 car, and we are waiting for the 55 Mazda to come in. Ryan Hunter-Reay will bring it in. Jonathan Bomarito will take it out. Those are scrubbed Michelins that will go on the car, John.
We'll give you a rundown and our Cadillac in-race update in just a few moments' time. Once this set of pit stops, green flag pit stops with 1 hour and 18 minutes to go, once they've run through, we'll reset the field.
Acura Team Penske got out ahead of the Mazda. They came in with a 3-second deficit, did the Acura Team Penske, but they're left with a gap of just about the same, but the other way around.
And here is the 55 in the pit lane with Shea Adam.
Fuel and tires and driver change for this car as they are still belting in Jonathan Bomarito. Tire change went beautifully. Door is still open. Now the door closes. Fuel nose is still attached. We wait for that probe to come out. And Jonathan waits for the yellow dangling pit board in front of him that bears the number that is on his car, 55 double black. And away he goes. And the Mazda is the second of the Mazdas back into the race. Now where does he come out? 7 in a bit of a battle at the moment. Ricky Taylor with Philippe Albuquerque. Both of those guys off the lead lap at the moment, but that will cycle through, of course, once the pit stops go through. Very tight indeed.
Just fascinating.
I'm loving this, Jeremy. Absolutely loving it.
It's brilliant, and there's just a second between the 2 leaders now, with Tristan Nunez having taken over from the number 77 car from Oliver Jarvis, and he's going to track down Juan Pablo Montoya. Of course, there was no driver change for Acura Team Penske. No. There was for the Mazda.
But that actually doesn't cost you any time.
No, well, it shouldn't
nowadays.
do.
No, it shouldn't.
But he came out, he went, the 77 car, the Mazda, came into the pits 3 seconds ahead and left 3 seconds behind.
I think they put more fuel in. Simple as that.
They needed the same sort of amount of fuel. If he did so, then maybe that's the case, but certainly the Mazda's going to need a pretty full tank next time around. They both are.
Yunkos in and out. Brand new set of sticker Michelin's going in. Right, across the line now. Let's
nothing to choose between them.
Get a little look with Montoya leading. Here's our Cadillac in race update. Acura number 6 leading. Montoya from Nunez in second by half a second. Jonathan Bomarito has rejoined, but I think he's fallen behind Felipe Nasser in the... see, I've just said that, and no, he hasn't. He's held on to 3rd place. Bomarito has held on, I think, the 3rd position.
He should do. He
Yeah.
came in nearly 10 seconds ahead of the number 31 car.
Who just crosses the line now, so that's confirmed. Felipe Nasser, the 31 Cadillac. Then Jordan Taylor in a bit of a battle with Philippe Albuquerque and Ricky Taylor. 10, 5 and 7 for the top 7. In GTLM, Antonio Garcia by nearly 4 seconds. The number 3 Corvette leads from the 912 Porsche in second. Earl Bamber to the end of the race for them. Tom Blomqvist in the BMW. That is in third position. He's 6 seconds further back and another 6 seconds further back in fourth. But what a drive back this has been after a jump start drive-through penalty for Patrick Pilet. And now Nick Tandy is taking time out of all 3 cars ahead of him. A second again that lap. Tandy is on a tear in fourth position. In GTD, Acura Mario Farmbach at 86 leads by 7.5 seconds back to Jack Hawksworth in the Lexus RCF in second. And in third, the Porsche of Scott Hargrove, the number 9 car, that's the Canadian plaid car. Then Brian Sellers, defending champion, then Catherine Legg, but she's about 14 seconds further back, and then it's very tight after that with Townsend Bell, Alex Riberas, Lawson Aschenbach, all in close contention. That's your Cadillac in race update with Cadillac V-Series. Real races never take time off. At the top of the standings then, half a second means just about enough space to put the number 4 Chevy Corvette in between them, going down through turns 5 and 6.
Frustrating for Nunez.
Nunez had fought back to the back of that car. That car's many laps down now as well. So Nunez will be tearing his hair out. The only good news I can give him is that Juan Montoya was held up slightly further up the field, but he was down to 0.2 of a second away from the leader, and now he's about 3 seconds away from the leader as he comes up to the back of the number 9 Porsche.
Excellent job by JPM to work his way through that traffic.
You'd expect it of him though, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, he struggled a little bit earlier in this race, but he's fully into the groove now. He's done a much better job at having, when he first got in the car, of course, so
Correct.
he had kind of attuned himself to the level of intensity of the traffic. He's now fully in tune. I think that was a great strategy by Team Penske to put him in at the first stop so he's ready to go to the end of the race.
And we have seen some questionable driving and overtaking decisions made by Juan Montoya in his Acura Team Penske career, so we should give him the credit where it's due there, because he's been very, very good, decisive, made those moves, made sure everybody knew where he was coming. Dark marks beginning to show on the light grey surface here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. That's because the track is rubbering up. There's Michelin rubber beginning to be laid down here. This circuit's very difficult for the tyres. Undulations plus different surfaces, sometimes on each side of the car. Tyres having to deal with all kinds of challenges here. An hour and 12 minutes, Jeremy, still to go. Number 12, Townsend Bell, has Catherine Legg right ahead of him as he heads towards the end of the lap. And that is the battle between the NSX Acura and the RCF Lexus for 5th and 6th in GT Daytona. Extraordinary to think that earlier on today, the air system in the IMSA broadcast centre here was belching out hot air because it was so chilly, and now it's cool air that's coming in through the vents. It's been a massive turnaround. Blue skies greeting the drivers as they head up now towards the top of turn 2, the keyhole, with Juan Montoya had pulled out a huge lead, but half a second pulled back there. It's back down under a second and a half now. Tristan Nunez has got a good car underneath him there, and clearly feels with a roundabout a mile-an-hour advantage in a straight line. The two Cadillacs exactly the same. The two Mazdas exactly the same, as you might expect. 171.9 miles an hour for Nunez and Bomarito through the speed traps last time around. Peter Durrani, 168, 167 for the Acura of Ricky Taylor. So he was a bit slower than his teammate, but that car has got some aerodynamic flaws on it, remember. And I don't mean FLOORS, I mean FLAWs, because it's missing part of the side bodywork. So there's a graphic indication of just how important aero is. Call it 3 miles an hour from Ricky Taylor's car to Juan Montoya's car. Huge amount of people have come here today, and there was people coming in even after the start. And look out behind our booth, the red roofs just to the driver's right of the start-finish line. Just coming through the final corner is where our booth is, driver's right. And the hills are beginning to fill up with cars. It's still very boggy underfoot and, more importantly, under wheel, which is why a lot of the cars are parked on the hard standing rather than in the normal car parking grassed areas. But there's a good crowd behind us on the hillside. And thanks if you've come out here listening on 90.3 FM, Sirius XM, IMSA Radio on the IMSA app or IMSA TV around the world where there's no network TV coverage. Good to have your company. This one's rocking, isn't it? 1 hour and 10 minutes to go. Antonio Garcia leading GT Le Mans. Put this out there right now. Corvette Racing still looking for their 100th North American victory in IMSA competition. Sitting on 99 for quite some time now. Their 100th overall. Total 100th. Was at Light Rock Park a couple of seasons ago.
Bamber's reduced that margin now to just a few car lengths. And in GTD, meanwhile, it's number 86 car leads for Mario Farbach on his very first visit to Mid-Ohio. All of a sudden, that gap was pretty much stable around about 7 seconds. Now it's less than 5, so we'll have to try to keep an eye on that. They pull well away from Scott Hargrove in third place, who's taken over from Zachary Robichaud in the FAF Motorsports Porsche car number 9, but still it's been a really, really good run by that team this afternoon.
It's not often that I walk up a pit lane at this stage of the race and find a driver who hasn't yet been in a car unhelmeted and sitting on the pit wall in effect. Connor DeFilippi, how hard is it to watch your 25 BMW enjoying all that battling while you're still sitting here on the sideline?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to take the reins at the start, and that was pure chaos. Gained a few positions. You know, we were okay in the beginning of the race and started to come on pretty strong towards the end of my stint. And now handed over to Tom. We're looking in pretty good position at the moment. 911 seems to close on us here. We'll try to fend them off for the next handful, and we'll see how it all shakes out on the last round of pit stops. I know some guys pitted a bit earlier than others, so that'll, you know, affect who has longer fills and who has shorter fills. So it's kind of hard to tell to see where everyone stands at the moment. But once the last pit stop takes part, then we'll know where everyone is, and I know we have the guy in the car to fight to the end.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
John, it's the complete opposite of what happened last year. Connor wound up driving the entirety of the race, practically the lion's share, for the number 25 BMW. His legs were cramping so badly when he got out that he had to sit on the pit wall afterwards. Well, now he's had a nice, easy day.
Well, they might still change in the end. There's the opportunity there. You never know. There's one more stop for pretty much one more stop for everybody with still over an hour to go. Montoya still just about 2 seconds ahead of the chasing Tristan Nunez. He's picking his way through traffic. Montoya will be the next one to hit a couple of cars who are having a battle. 67 Ford heading down towards the braking area at turn 4, still in behind Dirk Muller, still without the left rear bodywork on that Ford. Really worked out where that went there, but I have a suspicion a Porsche was involved in that when they were battling earlier on. Those two Fords, 5th and 6th for Muller and Westbrook, 66 and 67 in team order. Just 0.3 of a second between Antonio Garcia and Earl Bamber at the front of the field as they've just flashed past us. Oh, and off has gone Catherine Legg from 5th position, turn 10. She gets back on, wouldn't have been able to do that earlier in the weekend. Quick 360, pointing in the right direction. Catherine was in 5th position in GT Daytona. So Townsend Bell, Alex Riberas, Lawson Aschenbach has gone through, but I think she'll be still ahead of Tony Vielander. So she's going to drop down to 8th position. 3 positions lost there by Kat. Just trying to pick up where our GT Le Mans leaders are.
Pushed?
Well,
they were pretty close, I think.
it was Townsend Bell who was closest, yeah.
And the number 19 car and 74 right there as well.
Just trying to work out where Antonio Garcia is at the moment, because he's got his wing mirrors full of Porsche as the Fords go either side of the number 74 AMG of Lawson Aschenbach in that 7th position in GTD. Must have been interesting for Lawson. I've got a Ford coming. Oh, I've got 2 Fords. Am I seeing double? Oh, my mirror's not quite right. Jordan Taylor just put the number 10 Cadillac's fastest race lap in as he tries to close down on Colin Brown. Colin Brown, by the way, picked his way through to 7th position on a completely different strategy to everybody else.
Yeah, but Willow was a pit stop fairly soon. Last came in on lap 44.
Yeah, I don't think he can go on only 1 stop from here, Jeremy.
No,
I think he'll have to do 2 more stops if we stay green.
You can try, but...
oh, my goodness me. The leaders
past.
picking their way through past the 2 Fords as they went past us, now down into turn 1. And that gap has come right down. It was 1.2 seconds. It was 3/10 across the line. Nunez is trying to have a look around the outside of the damaged 66 Ford. Meantime, Montoya's already gone through the keyhole. This battling through the traffic is extraordinary to watch. Anybody who is on the app and watching the onboards, and anybody can be, by the way, the IMSA app, search on your app store for IMSA. It's free to download and free to use. Variety of onboards wherever you are in the world. Even if you've got network TV coverage here in the States, you can still watch the onboards. And I suspect that the onboards from the 6 and the 77 are extraordinary at the moment. IMSA TV carrying those onboards as well, particularly from the Masters this weekend. So maybe pull that up on an extra screen. Tristan Nunez given a bird's eye view, or a driver's eye view actually, through the traffic and the back of Juan Montoya's car.
There's number 911 car into the pits.
That's Nick Tandy. That's going to be tight. I'm not sure they can go from here, Shea Adam.
I don't know if you would want to tell Nick Tandy to go on fuel save. He's much better when you just tell him to go flat out all the time. He comes in, hits his marks, does not fly the car like Patrick Pilet did earlier. These look like scrubbed Michelins going on the right side as they are already done with those. Run around and do the lefts. The fueling is still going on. Let's make sure they get both tires on before they drop the car off the air jacks. Yep, everything looks good there. Waiting on a windshield tear off at this point. And we should be getting the 3 Corvette in soon as well. All those mechanics are up on the wall. Waiting on the fuel, still just waiting on the fuel. Brake lights, come on, go off, come on, go off. Nick's ready. He wants to go. This is not the look of a man who's going into fuel save mode. The 24 BMW is also in. That has had all 4 tires changed as Tandy goes off. And just waiting on fuel for John Edwards in that 24 BMW. Game on.
Down and away for the BMW, thank you, Shea. That will drop back out into traffic. Tandy on a slightly different strategy because of that drive-through early on. At IMSA Radio, by the way, if you want to get in touch with us, start thinking about your Spirit of the Race award. It's for the person, team, entity that you think most adequately has displayed the spirit of endurance racing here in this 2-hour 40-minute contest today, or even over the weekend. Hashtag Mido SOTR to @IMSA Radio. Tell you how you can ask questions on Michelin post-race tech in a little while as well. A little bit of damage on the number 9. It's the Pfaff Racing Porsche as the McLaren's gone off. Porsche's lost a wing mirror. It's dangling down. It's very bright green, so you can't see it on the left-hand side of the car. McLaren has regained the track surface. Decent run out for that McLaren. Paul Holton just running outside the top 10 in GTD. Just looped it. I think just tried to take too much speed into turn 6. Got onto the grass, but lucky actually earlier on the weekend he might not have got out of there. But no harm, no foul. Good to see that new 720S in, and that dark grey and bright orange colourway. Squints just a little bit, particularly when it's coming to you. And it does look like the Lark McLaren F1 into the pit lane from the lead of GT Le Mans. Corvette number 3, Antonio Garcia. burbles its way down towards Shea Adam.
Played very nicely with Catherine Legg leaving the pit lane after getting fuel and tires. But for the number 3 in Antonio Garcia, fuel and slick Michelin tires. And I mean that in the purest sense. They are very nice and shiny, brand new, have never touched the track surface before. Waiting on the fuel as the tire change is nearly complete. Just the left front still giving a little bit of problem. Now they've finished that, take the windshield tear off. And waiting on the fuel, Antonio Garcia with a bit of an uphill battle to go. And I mean that literally. The pit lane slants down from the Corvette Racing pit box, so he can't take his foot off the brake to try and give it full throttle until he has permission from the fueler being out. And now he has just that. It's about 2 seconds of the car actually just stationary as it's trying to get grip. But Antonio Garcia out until the end as the 25 BMW finally reappeared, and Tom Blomqvist staying into the end, which means Connor DeFilippi, congratulations. You can now officially go take off your sweaty fire suit and put on street clothes.
Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam down there in the pit lane. So exactly 1 hour to go as the leading GTD comes in, Mario Farnbacher. Now that car can go from here. It will be a full service stop. Tyres are, oh well, they do opposite sides, don't they? So front right, left rear. Front left, right rear. And that's done in 22 seconds, the tyre change with 2 guns. That's not bad at all. 26 seconds worth of fuel, so not a full tank required, and they're off.
Yeah. So
slow.
Pretty short stint
57
there.
is slow. Catherine Legg on her out lap. And she's grinding to a halt. She's not going to get it back just before turn 12. Oh my goodness. 100 metres before turn 12. And Catherine Legg right on the racing line up against the wall. Now,
well,
none of the prototypes can get home
here they
from
come.
here.
Here come some of the prototypes now.
Let's go down to Shea Adam. The gambling. It's going to be a full course yellow, I think, Shea.
So the cars that made it in before the pits closed, if they do close, would include the number 5, the Mustang Sampling Cadillac. Ian Watt calling that immediately. Catherine Legg back on the move, so that is good news. The number 12 Lexus has also come in, Townsend Bell, fuel and tires. The number 7 Penske Acura, Ricky Taylor still behind the wheel, fuel and tires there. 48 Paul Miller Racing, Brian Sellers, fuel and tires for the Lamborghini. The other Lexus is in. I would imagine that'll be fuel and tires for Jack Hawksworth. The 63 Scuderia Corse Ferrari managed to get into its box. That is also fuel and tires pretty much across the board here. The 19 for Alex Riberas, the More Speed Audi, same service, and we are waiting for the Corvette Sport Nissan to come in next.
And extraordinarily to me, the number 6 and 77 car stayed out. They didn't get the opportunity to come onto the pit lane. Boy, that's risky.
But Catherine stayed out.
She kept going
round.
again.
She's gone round. She got it restarted.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay, fine.
And she's gone around. She didn't even come into the pit lane. So maybe they were just at the right part of the track that they didn't have to jump before Catherine was reported as moving again.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely right. Sorry, I missed that.
No, it's all right. Plenty going on, Jeremy. Battling in GT Le Mans at the moment, the 911 Porsche going around the outside of Tom Blomqvist, can't get it done. This is cracking stuff in behind the 48 on cold tyres, just come out of the pits for the Lamborghini Huracan. It's just made its pit stop. And there's prototypes in there as well. This is the battle for 5th and 6th position. Tom Blomqvist and Nick Tandy both having just made a pit stop relatively recently. .3 seconds again at the front of the field. Montoya from Nunez, under an hour to go. Well, I'll tell you what now, I reckon Farnbacher's fueled to the end in that Acura number 86.
Definitely.
I think that car can go at the end at pace.
Yeah.
So now it's down to everybody else. Where will Hawksworth come out? Hawksworth just come out onto the track. Farnbacher's not gone through. So it's going to be a dash up the turn 1. Where's Farnbacher? In that, it's hard to miss that grey and pink car. And we'll watch that as Shea Adam has a chat with one of the stars of the race so far, maybe one of the nominees for the spirit of the race, Ryan Hunter-Reay. First time out in the Mazda and led the race.
Ryan Hunter-Reay gets my vote for spirit of the race for sure. Ryan, you come into this race, you've never driven the Mazda in the dry, and then your first time out there is this morning in morning warm-up. How different was it when the sun was out?
Yeah, it was quite a bit different. It's definitely been, baptism by fire here, just trying to get to grips with the car, but this team's done an amazing job getting me in here, getting me fit in the car in a short amount of time, making me feel at home, and the car's a blast to drive. I had a good time out there. Got run over by a Penske, which put us back a little bit, but I had a fantastic start there past the Action Express guys, and then I had to do it all over again after that hit, but luckily the car was okay, and just put my head down and got on with it, had some fun out there.
How much does it help that you've had success in this track in the past in other variations of racing?
Helps a lot, just know the little nuances of it, you know. It's one of my favorite tracks. This is old school American road racing right here, and you know, they don't make them like this anymore, so it's a great racetrack, a great place to be. Sun's out finally this weekend, so hopefully we can get a Mazda win today.
Yeah, but how intense is it out there with 3 different classes of racing around this track?
It's insane. It's such a tight racetrack that it makes for, you have to be patient in some areas and super aggressive in others, and balancing that constantly, keeping your head, is a real challenge. That was chaos compared to an IndyCar race around here for sure, so it was a lot of fun.
Ryan, thank you very much. Good luck for the rest of the day and also in the month of May.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Insane in a good way. Ryan Hunter-Reay and IMSA at Mid-Ohio. Chaos in a good way.
Loving it.
I have a strong suspicion, Adam, that there was a big smile on Ryan's face all the way through that interview there.
Could you hear it?
Yes, you could.
Was it a little Jensen Button-like to you,
was.
maybe?
1,000-watt smile all the way through that. Thank you, Shea. Ryan Hunter-Reay, you're a star. Absolute top quality. Come back anytime you want, mate. Very good stuff indeed. Been impressed. See, the good are just good at everything. Well done. Montoya all of a sudden 3 seconds ahead, having taken a little bit of time back though last time around. Tristan Nunez took a second back, so that's been up towards 5 seconds again now as the battles continue. Gee, dear me, this is unbelievable. Ford's first and second, although Dirk Muller peels into the pit lane for their pit stops. So Earl Bamber is going to get around, and the Porsche has jumped the Corvette on pit stops considerably. Antonio Garcia was leading by a decent margin on Bamber, and it's now, I reckon, something over 10 seconds between Bamber and Garcia. 12.1 seconds, in fact, as they go through. Down and away for Dirk Muller after full service. It's going to be tight for these guys to get to the end with 53 minutes to go, but maybe they've got the best chance of it in GT Le Mans. Surely Richard Westbrook, who's still going out there, last stopped on lap number 29. We're working 77 now. So that's going to be close for Westbrook, but we know what he's like on fuel. And he comes into the pit lane now. And Shea Adam will watch the stop of the car that is just coming out of the lead of GT Le Mans. This is the 67 Ford of Chip Ganassi Racing.
We've heard this story before, John, where all of a sudden the 67 Ford GT doesn't necessarily qualify terribly well, and then, hey, there's about an hour to go and there's a 1 on the side of it. It will be Richard Westbrook taking this car to the checkered flag. Ryan Briscoe sitting comfortably at the top of the pit perch, where Chip Ganassi is actually here this weekend as well. So what better way than to get a win in front of the big man? These are slick, brand new Michelin tires. They are not scrubbed rubber, as clearly that's been the way to go with the differing conditions. Waiting on the fuel as the car comes off the air jacks. Richard gives it a little bit of a rev, and I'm sure he's told immediately, hey, don't rev the engine. That's just wasting fuel while it's going in. And fuel nozzle still attached. Waiting, there we go. He's cleared to leave. And he actually tears up a bit of tape from the pit box. They won't be needing that again, as that car should not come back to visit the pit lane before the end of this one.
52 minutes. It's not going to be easy from there, but I think it is doable. Ganassi have played the strategy cards. We thought the 67 early on, didn't we, was maybe saving a bit of fuel. And now Richard Westbrook, who is the ace Johnny Softfoot, is out onto the circuit and joins in right behind his teammate, which is exactly where he was before he came in. Dirk Muller possibly to the end as well from there. So Earl Bamber by 10.7 seconds leads GT Le Mans from the Corvette of Antonio Garcia in second. Then Tom Blomqvist for BMW. who's got Nick Tandy right up his tailpipes in the 911 Porsche in the battle for third and fourth. In GTD, Mario Farnbacher has cycled back after the pit stops into the lead of GT Daytona. As Lawson Aschenbach pits from second in the number 74 Mercedes, Jack Hawksworth will go through into second place in the 14 Lexus. About 14 seconds between first and second then. And then Scott Hargrove will be the next through, but he's another 29 seconds further back down the road. It's full service for the number 74 Lone Star AMG GT4. Good to have them back in the championship. And there was sticker Michelins that have gone onto that car, just waiting for the fuel and waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. Read a chapter of my book now. It's all part of the BOP there. Side by side out of turn number 2, and the 911 makes up a position. Nick Tandy charges into third in class after being dead last. Remember that car jumping the start with Patrick Pilet. Had a drive through, had to fight its way through all of the traffic, and has had no help from yellow flags to do that. An extraordinary run. Is that the spirit of the race, contender from the number 911 Porsche? Tandy and Pilet on fine form today. Tandy last weekend doing it in the wet, now doing it in the sunshine. Nick Tandy a man for all seasons. Hashtag mid-O-SOTR to @IMSA Radio. Let's give you a Cadillac in-race update from the top of the field. Juan Montoya by 3 seconds. The number 6 Acura Penske leads it, coming through turn 5 now, heading down the hill to the right-hander at 6. Tristan Nunez is second position in the 77 Mazda. He has 35 seconds on his teammate Jonathan Bomarito in the 55, who has 3 seconds on fourth place, the first of the Cadillacs, Felipe Nasr. He's checking through to see. I think those are the only 4 on the lead lap at the moment.
Yes, they are.
Right, in GT Le Mans, Porsche Earl Balmer leading in the 912 by about 18 seconds, 10 seconds from Antonio Garcia, who's got 9 seconds on the charging Nick Tandy in the 911 Porsche. Then it's BMW 25, Ford 66 and 67. I thought they'd just swapped over, actually.
Which ones?
66 and 67. I thought Westy had gone through that.
Yes. No, 66 car was ahead of the 67 last couple of laps after the round of pit stops.
Thank you. And in GT Daytona, Farnbacher in the 86, from Hawksworth in the 14 Lexus, from Hargrove in the 911, number 9. And then it's Brian Sellers in the defending champion Lamborghini. Then the Audi R8 Huracan, the Audi R8 GT3, excuse me, is next up. And that is the 5th place car, Ryan DL. Andy Lally makes up the top 6. That is your Cadillac in-race update with Cadillac V-Series, because real races never take time off. Let's go down to Shea Adam in the pit lane.
52 minutes to go when Richard Westbrook came into the pit lane, and we know that the 67 crew is really good on saving fuel, but Ryan Briscoe, just how much soft pedaling is Westy going to have to do to win this race?
I mean, at this point, I think it's all go. I mean, we're good on fuel, and we've just got to try to run as hard as we can, but you know, it's been so much of a track position sort of a race here, no yellows. We were hoping to get the 66 in that pit sequence, but yeah, I mean, we're running P6, so we'll see what happens here, but it's going to be tough to move forward unless something happens.
So hoping for a yellow?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be nice.
What are the strategists saying after the guys had the stop? Do the people ahead of you still have to stop, do you know?
Ahead of us, I think everyone's good to the end now, so pretty much it's just run as hard as we can, you know, and the car's been running pretty well. The first stint on my qualifying tyres, they were a bit blistered up after qualifying, and it was a bit of a struggle, but since then the car's been running pretty strong, but it's just hard to move forward.
Hey, let's hope for a yellow.
No, let's not. You can't say that, Shea. 46 minutes to go. Battle at the front of the field, still that 3-second gap, but traffic plays such a big part. Jonathan Bomarito in a battle of his own in the 55 third place Mazda with Felipe Nasr trying to close him down. Ricky Taylor's not that far away in the 7 Acura either. He's just done his best middle sector.
No, that's right. He's hanging on to the tail of that, the damaged number 7 Acura. They're both a lap down, but he's dropped back a little bit on that last lap, actually, did the number 10 car.
Jordan and Ricky just 2 seconds apart.
Not too far behind them also, the number 84 car. It's Stephen Simpson who's taken over for Simon Trummer in that car.
Yeah, he's put some good laps in. 14.2 last time around, only bettered by Ricky Taylor with a 13.7. Traffic playing a huge part. Justin Nunes just put in a 13.8. Traffic playing such a big part.
Yeah.
Number 10, Cunningham and Alter car's been strangely off form all this weekend, and Renger was really struggling in it in the start of the race as well on the tyres on which he qualified, Jeremy, and sure why that is, never really got to the bottom of it, but the car doesn't look like it's a particular handful to drive, but they just haven't had the pace.
Yeah, true.
Might be worth a word.
Race leader there had to jink wide to go around it was Andy Lally in the number 44 Lamborghini. That's just made a pit stop a little while ago, running in the 11th position, a lap down to the leaders in GTD after making that pit stop. He had been running in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th position, and he tried to give room for Montoya to go around the outside of him on the right-hand side of the Lamborghini coming towards start-finish line, but by that time Montoya was already committed to going to the left, so a bit of a evasive action there required, but no harm, no foul. He was able to get through. The gap, though, between first and second now is down to less than a second for the first time in a little while.
What a great lap last time around by Ricky Taylor, fastest middle sector of anybody, and Jordan Taylor hanging on to his coattails, as we mentioned. That car's fastest lap of the race, so possibly stung by the criticism. I'm sure he's listening on 90.3. Come on, Jordan. 1:13.5 from the black Cadillac last time around. The leaders in the 3rd sector at the moment. Jeremy and I leaning forward to see what traffic they'll come up against. Corvette for the number 6, it goes through. There goes the Mazda following it through. It's going to be about 2 seconds, 1.8 as they went through this time. It's amazing how this is ebbing and flowing. Still one more stop for the prototypes, of course. And the question is, Jeremy, when do you take it? I reckon they're getting close to being in the window now to go to the end.
No, another couple of laps probably.
Couple of laps, do you think?
Yep.
43 minutes, so 40 minutes to 35 to 40 minutes.
The 77 car has generally been coming in 1 lap sooner than the number 6. You want to stay out another couple of laps if you can.
So, Jeremy, do you favour the right, we can get to the end from here, let's take our stop first and then we're sorted, or do you favour the let's stay out in a race that's been green for such a long time because it's unlikely we're going to get caught the wrong side of a safety car?
I wouldn't be surprised to see neither team change tyres at this pit stop in order to keep warm rubber on the cars. That's going to be the tricky thing here. If you can stay out and do one more lap, and Nunes was a little bit unlucky with the traffic there on that particular lap coming through the final couple of corners. All of a sudden now he's a couple of seconds behind in second place. Juan Pablo Montoya was able to get through the carousel in the final corner with a little bit of an advantage, while the BMW held up Nunes just a little bit, unwittingly of course, but it's, if you can stay out 1 lap longer on hot tyres, that sometimes can be an advantage, and that I think has played to the favour of the number 6 car in this race.
But it's not cold anymore though, Shea, is it?
Nope, I'm kind of regretting wearing an extra jacket under my fire suit. It's definitely not cold. There's still a little bit of a chill in the air, but the pit board has just come down for the 55 Mazdas, and indeed it is. It is in the pit lane for Jonathan Palmerito from 3rd, so we'll see, do they do tires? Yes, they do. They are going to change all 4 of the tires on this number 55, and these for the first time look like brand new Michelin. Let's see. Hard to say, John. Honestly, there's a little bit of the shine that's already been taken off of these tires. They might have only done 1 lap.
Well, in the warm-up this morning, they were trying to scrub in tyres this morning, but it was awfully difficult because there was no track temperature, and several teams went out there and they ran 2 or 3 laps, and the tyres looked brand new.
Shea Adam, in terms of how long the car was stationary, I don't think that was a full tank for the Mazda.
27 seconds worth of the car being worked on, and the max fuel capacity for these cars is 30.
Okay, Shea Adam, thank you. The checkered flag ends the race, but not the conversation. The race chat continues in Michelin Post-Race Tech Live. The original fan interaction show here on IMSA Radio. At IMSA Radio, please. And the hashtag Michelin PRT. Questions, points of order, things you've noticed. If you want to have a little rant, we don't mind that as well. You drive the editorial content in our post-race show. Hashtag Michelin Post PRT. Hashtag Michelin PRT at IMSA Radio. I feel there's some talking points coming here, and we might not have heard the last of what they are. A little bit of a slow moment for the 76, which is the McLaren. Been going so well. Matt Plum is cruising at the moment. He
Race
should
leaders
get
in the
through
pits.
into the pit lane as first and second is in the pit lane, Shadam.
And they are pitted where the 77 hits its marks first and then does the 6. For the Penske, they are doing scrubbed rubber on the left side first. Note they are going to do all 4 tires. And at the Mazda, new Michelin tires. Looks like all 4, but again, they look like they have a little bit of the sheen taken off. Again, they're so close to looking perfectly new. All right, now the race is on. The Acura is already off of its jacks, as is the Mazda. Who is going to move first? The Acura short fueled last time, remember, so it should be the Mazda getting away first, but the Acura does engage in gear first, and they're a little bit further up the pit lane. Oh my goodness, they're going to be so close when they get back on the track. Tristan Nunez knows what he has to do. He has target acquired on Juan Pablo Montoya. This really is the Jaws music time.
And that should be their last stop with 40 minutes to go.
I think the stops are about the same, so the gap between them is about the same. Might have actually been extended just a little bit. It was 3 seconds on the lap before they made the pit stops. I fancy it might be a tad more than that by now. Number 31 car also in out of 3rd place.
I think it's about 5 seconds, Jeremy.
Yeah, I do too.
I think the Mazda, they're taking no chances with the Mazda. Remember, they ran this car out of fuel in the qualifying session with Ollie Jarvis with 2 laps, 2 corners to go on his last lap. The engine just cut out completely with a loss of fuel pressure. We've got the 31 car in, Felipe Nasser as well. Now that car is waiting. Now can Jonathan Bomarito go through? Yes, he can. He's just gone past our box, so he goes back up into 3rd. So it is a dash to the end now, with the final stops being made at the front of the field. So where does the 31 get out? Does he get in front of Ricky Taylor? Haven't seen Ricky come through. No, Ricky Taylor's gone through. So definitely Bomarito got through.
Say what?
Bomarito definitely went through.
Went through
ahead
what?
of Nasser before Nasser cleared the pit lane. Now there's
Sure.
Ricky Taylor going through, so he didn't get ahead of Ricky, but he did get ahead, I think, of Bomarito. Yeah. No, that's the 77. That's Nunez going through. Okay, I've confused myself there. 5.2 seconds is at the front of the field. Anyway, I'll give you the rundown in a moment in our Cadillac V-Series in-race rundowns. Let me tell you what's going on in GTD then. Mario Farnbacher by 8.1 seconds as Jack Hawksworth is beginning to close in there. The Acura versus the Lexus, and 3rd at 19 seconds further back, the number 9 Porsche. That's the tartan-coloured Porsche. And a huge gaggle of cars, all within a couple of seconds of each other, including Brian Sellers, Townsend Bell, Lawson Aschenbach, in respectively the 48, 12 and 74 Lamborghini, Lexus and Mercedes.
Oh, okay. Number 7 car.
I think Ricky Taylor's up to 3rd.
When did he make his pit? You made his pit stop.
Yeah. He was the first one to make his pit stop.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
He made it on 79.
Right, so
I think they've got one more
yeah,
pit stop
so,
before
yeah,
the
he
end.
needs another pit stop, yeah.
I don't think they can go to the end from there. But it could be a bit of a spoiler. In GTLM, in our Cadillac rundown, Earl Bamber by 9 seconds now, and is just trying to pull away from Tonio Garcia, but Tonio's just put his fastest first sector of the race in the number 3 Chevy Corvette, and Nick Tandy's only 7.5 seconds further back. My question is to whether Nick Tandy, who is 3 laps worse off on fuel than most of the people around him, can make it to the end. It'll be tight, I think, for Tandy. And at the front of the field, Montoya by 5.5, 6 Acura from 77 Mazda, from Ricky Taylor, who we think it needs another stop. Number 7 car with the damage on the right front. Then Jonathan Bomarito, he's only a couple of seconds back anyway from Ricky Taylor. It's the 55 Mazda. Then the Cadillacs, led by the 31. Then the 10. Then the 84, Stephen Simpson in the bright yellow JDC Miller Motorsport car, and then the 5 of Philippe Albuquerque from Mustang Sampling. Top 10 made up by Junkos Racing and Tristan Frotier just rejoining, just ahead, I think, the 85 of Colin Brown. And I still reckon then that it's only the top 4 on the lead lap. That's our Cadillac in-race update with Cadillac V-Series.
Well, 5 at the moment because number 7 owes us a pit stop, I think.
Right. Yes, okay. Cadillac V-Series in-race update with 35 minutes to go.
Yes.
Hashtag Michelin PRT for the post-race tech show, by the way, at IMSA Radio. Hello to Darren, thank you very much indeed. Nigel S. Dobby tuned in as well. Let's have your questions and your nominations.
And the number 7 car, by the way, that made that pit stop on lap 77. That was in anticipation of a full course caution.
Which didn't happen.
Which didn't happen. Number 5 and number 7 then are off strategy with everybody else.
It's finally happened for the 66 Ford, that the wheel arch that had gone missing, the rest of the bodywork has collapsed onto the left rear Michelin tyre, and it's throwing rubber smoke all over the place. It's the inner wheel arch. He's going to have to pit. He's going to have to pit. And does immediately. Here comes the 6. Now this is interesting then. So the 6 is coming now, Jeremy, because he can't go to the end from here, obviously with 34,
yeah.
but it'll be a short pit stop. Now he's trying, this is part of our Porsche keys to the race. What are you going to do? Where's he going to come out? It will have been a short fill. He rejoins. He can't possibly, surely get ahead of Bomarito. No, he's gone through. I think Felipe Nasser as well.
Yeah, he'll come out, I think, in 5th position.
Behind Nasser.
Yeah, he should be well behind Nasser. The question is whether he can get out ahead of the number 10 car, who's just coming around the carousel right now. And is he out of the pits? He's made a stop? Yeah, okay, so he's done that comfortably.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Taylor, Stephen Simpson putting fast times in. Stephen Simpson, his fastest of the race at 13.6 in the bright yellow 84 GDC Miller Motorsport Cadillac in 7th position. I think Ricky Taylor might... Oh, into China Beach, the 54 Nissan. Colin Brown, pits are closed. We're going to go full course yellow. It's all up for grabs in the last half an hour of the Acura Sports Car Challenge here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And there's 2 Fords between 1st and 2nd as they go through past us, but everyone else is back in the game now, Jeremy Shaw.
They are, and it was a lap too late for number 7 car to get an opportunity to get back on the lead laps. It is then 1 lap down after that pit stop, but he did come out well ahead of the number 10 car of Jordan Taylor.
Just a rare mistake by Colin Brown, who went straight on at turn 4 and into the gravel that the locals call China Beach. I should just mention, by the way, that Brian Sellers in the Lamborghini Huracan of Paul Miller Racing, the number 48, put his fastest lap of the race in just before that caution came out, a 1:25.1. And no, check that. Where's his? A 1:21.1. That's pretty close to the fastest lap in class there today, and that's going to close up as well. We'll see how that works out. But we've got, I think, 10 cars still on the lead GTD lap, all the way down to Chase Parker in the Audi
Parker
Chase. Thank you. Parker Chase in the number 8. That is the Audi R8 LMS GT3. Should come round. Actually, do you know what? I think Andy Lanny might... No, don't think so.
Yeah, I think Andy's right there.
Yeah, I agree. It might just be Parker Chase. Actually, it might only be the top 9. I'm going to revise that and say it's only down to the 63 car of Tony Vielander. So the Snatch Tractor, the JCB, in action for the first time. Our first full course caution. We've gone 2 hours and 8 minutes before the double yellows have had to come out in an extraordinary sprint race here for the Acura Sports Car Challenge. Jeremy Shaw, quick thought from you while we went to take our breath.
Over 2 hours, didn't we, before the first caution period. Half an hour remaining right now. This is going to be a frantic dash to the checkered flag. This is going to give Tristan Nunez one last chance to try and find a way past Juan Pablo Montoya. Yeah, past Juan Pablo Montoya. Right,
luck.
Yeah, that sounds easy, doesn't it? But there's going to be battles in all the classes. Unfortunately not in LMP2 because of the problems early on for the number 38 car. So number 52, we haven't mentioned that all race pretty much. That car's it's just ahead of all the Gtlm cars actually, in the 12th position overall. The number 52 for PR1 Matheson Motorsports, which is making a pit stop right now.
Pits are open for prototype. Only one take a share, Adam.
And that would be the car that Jeremy was just talking about, the PR1 Matheson Motorsports LMP2 car. Matt McMurray looking to give his dad, Chris, a very nice birthday present in the form of a trophy.
Has Matt been in since the start of the race?
No, Eric Lux took the start. He was the qualifying driver.
Right.
So he did do his minimum drive time, and Matt's been driving a very long time, but he's an incorrigible young man. He likes to drive as much as he can. They're giving him 4 scrubbed Michelin tires. They're doing fuel already done. Are they going to do a windshield tear off? Yep, I think they are. And just waiting on the left rear tire. Absolutely no urgency necessary though. Get this pit stop done, get the wheels on the car, and get Matt back out so that they can bring home a trophy.
Thanks, Shay. Let's have your questions, points of order. Hashtag Michelin PRT for post-race tech on RS2 IMSA Radio. And your nominations for Spirit of the Race. That's hashtag MidOSOTR.
Excuse me, Townsend Bell found a way past Brian Sellers, did he? Just before that caution.
Brian had just put his fastest lap in of the race. He did a 21.7 just before that came out. But yes, that seems to be the case. Or was that done on pit stops?
No, I don't think so. Last note I made was 3 or 4 laps ago, but 48 car was ahead of number 12, but just came past here. I'm pretty sure number 12 was ahead of 48. Yes, it was.
So the bright orange Acura NSX leads the field.
Number 19 car making a pit stop there. That is still on the lead lap. Done a nice job. And I think there's several other cars. Maybe Andy Lally might be on just got the wave around, I think, along with Tony Vielander in number 63. Ferrari.
Pits are showing us open for GT, share, Adam.
Now they are, but the safety car has not yet come past. So that meant that Alex Riberas would have come into the pit lane when the pits were technically still closed for GT cars because it was still the prototype's turn. So he would have come by on his wave by lap.
Well, it's on the screen that pits were open, and he came in after that appeared on the screen.
I think it is once the safety car has come by, though. I'll double check with Johnny Knotts and make sure that that is not a penalty. But to me, that just seems a little bit odd. That's not typical protocol.
Okay. We'll try that. He'll either get done for coming in while the pits were closed or breach of wave round. One of the two. I think if you see the sign on the screen that says pits open for GT and you're coming to the pit entrance, then you dive in, because your team just told you that. Now that's just been taken off the screen now, but it was definitely there. I'm not going mad. Commencing final wave by, it says now. We've got a couple of safety vehicles out on the track just following the Nissan all the way back round. One of the Porsche Cayenne safety vehicles and one of our official IMSA safety trucks from Chevy, both with the branding of AMR for 2019, and we thank them for supporting safety in motor racing here in IMSA. So we have got the top 3 together, Jeremy, behind the Acura NSX safety car. So, right everybody, you've had your breath.
Stand back.
Just mind to take a step or 2 back from the fence line as the 54 peels into the pit lane. Now Colin Brown may well be blameless here, because I thought it looked odd that he just drove into China Beach. Left front suspension is broken on that car. He's done well to get it back. Meantime, Shea has a definitive word on whether the pits were open, closed and penalties.
Okay, the pits were closed for GT cars at the point in which Alex came in, took emergency service, 1 tire change. They still have an obligation to fulfill though, John. The 19 car, the more speed car, must come down the pit lane when it's an all call for everybody and serve a drive-through penalty, or else they're going to have to serve a drive-through penalty when we go back to green flag. So hopefully they've read the rule book, and I should be seeing that gold and blackish Audi coming down now.
Final wave by going on, and a huge piece of bodywork on the pit straight, which is a dark red colour. Is that the other Ford has lost part of its bodywork? Because it was the 66 that lost it. I think it is, you know. It is. It's another Ford rear part of the body, and that's the darker red colour, so that must be from the 67 and Richard Westbrook. And that'll need to be picked up. We'll see the safety car go, or one of the trucks go around. In fact, there is one of the Chevy twin cab safety trucks heading down the pit straight at the moment. I'll see if I can get a look at Richard Westbrook's car. It's that extraordinary that both of the Fords have had bits fall off the back, or at least be knocked off the back. You sort of think it might be Porsche versus Ford on the 66 car. I can't tell you any more other than it was a darker metallic red looking piece in the middle of the track, and I'm pretty certain that even with my poor eyesight I can see a blue oval on there as well, and an EcoBoost sticker. Thank you very much to our marshals, corner workers and volunteer officials around mid-Ohio. It's been a beautiful end to what's been a trying week for everyone, including all of the officials and you, the spectators, who have turned out here today as well. Brilliant to see so many of you braved what was possibly not going to be the day you thought. Hope we've repaid you with some exciting racing. We're going to have about 23 minutes to go. The safety car lights are out. Shuffle to the edge of your seat. Take a deep breath. Juan Montoya versus Tristan Nunez versus Jonathan Bomarito, and here they go. Montoya gets the jump and trying to get a lap back. Jordan Taylor in the black number 10 Cunningham and Alta car. There'll be no pass in turn 1. Even start between the top 3. In fact, the third Mazda is 1, 2, 3 down the row.
Yeah, several lap cars between the second and third place cars.
Yeah. No speed have served their penalty. As the number 7 is in there as well, Ricky Taylor, but not getting involved with the Mazda. That's a pretty fair run at the moment, at least. As the second Mazda, the 55 car, that's the third place car. 1, 2, 3 lap cars between it and its sister car. So pretty decent restart at the front of the field, but a bit of a hip check for the lead of the race, coming out of 2 in GT Le Mans, and Jack Hawksworth has taken the lead. Great pickup by our TV colleagues on the tape. Our tape ape's doing brilliant. I say that with much love, and I realise it's not tape anymore, but upholding a fine tradition. So Hawksworth to the point in GT Daytona. Mario Farnbacher in traffic, nowhere to defend, coming through turn 2, and that's confirmed as they come across the line this time around. Earl Bamber has 2 seconds on Chevy Corvette driver Antonio Garcia in the number 3, and Tom Blomqvist is half a second further back. Then it's Tandy. Tandy's right back in this, you know. There's another spirit of the race potential nominee, dead last. Drive-through penalty after a jump start by Pele, and Tandy's just been on it.
Yeah, but he's just been overtaken by number 25 car of Tom Blomqvist.
Yes, he has. You're absolutely right. On the restart.
So what a great restart that was by Pablo Montoya. 1 minute 15.5. Nobody else bettered 1 minute 18 on that restart lap. Brilliant.
Montoya, right throughout his career, Jeremy, he's always been good on cold tyres. Always, always. He was the same in IndyCar, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Known for it.
Yep, that's just feel.
It is feel, absolutely. And bravery.
Yeah. Wow, he's still romping away too.
Well, we know that.
Even more.
We know that Mazda takes a wee while to get heat into the Michelins. Same for the Porsches, actually. Tandy flashing his lights at Blomqvist. Second, third and fourth in GT Le Mans coming into the carousel now, led by the bright yellow Corvette, then the white, blue and red of BMW M-Power and BMW Team RLL. Then the Porsche back in works colours now, the white with the black and red. Nick Tandy takes a huge amount of curb on the apex of turn one. Closes on the BMW there, but there's no way through. Now jinks to the right-hand side of the track, tries to get position on the inside of turn two. Blomqvist drifts away from the apex in the middle of two, but gets a good exit, but so does Tandy. Tandy in the draft now. Can he draft up to the back using the slipstream of that BMW ahead of him? And the Cadillac is breaking away in second place. Porsche been on a super roll recently. Crowned world champions in the FIA World Endurance Championship yesterday with their result at Spa. Tandy coming off a win at VLN3 is right underneath the rear wing of the BMW as they head towards turn 10 and across the rise. Now in the Thunder Rally, those two cars very evenly matched. The gap at the front of the field, 4.7 seconds.
Another half a second on that last lap, at least by Montoya. 1:14.0 for the race leader.
But Nunez down to a 14.6, so he is getting some life from those tyres. Jonathan Bomarino back in the shout as well now. Felipe Nasr working his way through in the number 31, the red and white car. He had traffic to deal with. Now here's Tandy going up the hill. Will he jink to the right? Try the outbraking manoeuvre into the keyhole. No, he doesn't. He stays right behind. He pushes his way through. It's nose, it's side, it's elbow, it's shoulder, and through goes Tandy. I didn't think there was room there to do that.
Well, yeah,
Tandy was up on the curb.
That was a classic bump and run, that was.
Yeah,
he loves NASCAR, and that's where he learned that trick.
Well, Blomqvist may not be happy about that one. Well, that was absolutely Intimidator-esque.
Yes.
Tandy, if you're going to do it, learn from the best.
Yep.
But once he had the room on the inside, he wasn't frightened to climb the curb, Jeremy. Looked like he was going inside early, but then just, well, he had actually Michelin's on the grass. Yeah. He had the right side Michelin's on the grass. Looked like he was going to get through. Then Blomqvist.
Bump, there he goes, and then he dives along the inside.
Tandy's going to say that Blomqvist overbraked there and parked it on the apex.
But the onus is on the overtaking driver to make a clean pass.
Absolutely agree.
This is going to be a good run in race control.
Absolutely agree with you. But I'm guaranteeing you what Tandy's going to say. Yep. That one might be fought out afterwards. But it's been a cracking run from Tandy and Pele. Pele made the mistake to start with, but had a fantastic first stint, finding his way through all of that traffic. Jeremy's still giggling about that.
It was fun. I mean, there was not a Porsche width on the racetrack between the BMW and the grass, but Porsche made it through. That was fun.
Richard Westbrook and Dirk Muller together. Yes. Meantime, at the front of the GTD field, Townsend Bell in the number 12 car. What is that? That's Mario Farnbacher now behind him. Sorry, that's Jack Hawksworth and Mario Farnbacher. Townsend Bell's a couple of cars further back behind Scott Hargrove. The top four separated by 7 seconds, so they've been split up a little bit in traffic in GTD. In GT Le Mans, though, Earl Bamber, comparatively speaking, is checked out, and now Nick Tandy's got some room on the racetrack. He's trying to close down the 2.1 second gap to Antonio Garcia, and he's setting his personal fastest lap of the race, 1:19.2, which I think is the fastest GT Le Mans lap of the race by Nick Tandy, the moment he was sprung, or at least sprung himself, from behind Tom Blomqvist. No sign that that is being investigated, by the way. Nothing on the timing screen and nothing on our race control channel.
48 car back ahead of the 12. Did that happen on that last lap?
Must have,
I think it did.
Only by 6/10. That's a
so
good battle,
Sellers
isn't it?
back past Townsend Bell up into 4th position then. The number 73 car is right there as well. That is Patrick Long.
That's what I was. Sorry, that's why I got confused, Jeremy. I was watching an onboard of Townsend Bell and was wondering how the Acura had got back ahead of it. Well, it wasn't an Acura, but it was a Lamborghini instead. And it was Bell looking at Sellers and not Hawksworth looking at the back of Farnbacker. So that's what I was seeing on the onboard. Take your eye off this for a moment and check the timing screen, and you've missed 3 passes. Extraordinary stuff. 15 minutes to go, Jeremy. Montoya got enough here. 14-3, 14-3. It's evened out now at the front of the field. Jordan Taylor pushing hard, trying to catch his brother. 13-3 for him.
All of a sudden, the 25 car is back with a 911 again as they came past here. So I'm wondering whether number 911 car is fixing to give that position back. All of a sudden, he lost 4 seconds on that lap. I think he might be willing to give up that position again and try and make a pass again. He hasn't done him pass yet, though.
No. They're together coming down towards turn 4. Maybe a bit of traffic could have slowed Nick down.
No, there was no traffic involved for sure.
Well,
no.
Not sure what's happened there, Jeremy. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, one thing that's happening is Nick is working his rear Michelin's very hard and he's sliding around a lot. But he's not. That's not restitution that's being made there, so that must have been a mistake by Tandy. Antonio Garcia responds to the threat he thought was coming from Tandy with his fastest lap of the race. Jordan Taylor still trying to close in on his brother. Ricky in the number 7 Acura and Jordan in the 10 Cadillac. Now just 1.6 seconds between them. And Tristan Nunez down in the 13s, but so this time is Montoya. So that's stabilised at 4.7 seconds. Felipe Nasser catching Jonathan Bomarito, whose slow lap from Bomarito last time is 16.1. And that's why they're together. Battle at the front of GT Daytona. Just for good measure, all the classes except LMP2, where one of the runners has had an issue, all the classes with battles for the lead of class, or for at least major positions.
Townsend Bell just lost another position, this time to number 73 Park Place Porsche.
Which is Patrick Long driving that car in the dark grey with the dark maroon stripes. GTD lead has been the battle has been outstanding all day. Parker Chase in the Audi number 8 just put his fastest middle sector in. So there's still life in these Michelin tyres, and as the fuel burns off with 13.5 minutes to go, fantastic stuff. Nominations, please. Hashtag MidOSOTR. Ian McCarthy says, corner workers and marshals. We've seen some amazing action in hideous weather worldwide this season. It's been the year of the marshal, says Ian. Agree? Then vote for the marshals and the corner workers here, or nominate someone else. Hashtag MidOSOTR for the spirit of the race at IMSA Radio. Ryan Hunter-Ray getting Shea's nom over my headset. Hard one to argue with. I'm going to say the 911 crew. Tandy, they've battled back. Easy to just say that's that. Making a mistake earlier on. Patrick Peely in particular I thought was outstanding in his first stint as he came up through the field. Had to pass every single GTD car to get on the back of the GTLM field, and did, and then past GTLM cars as well. See, Taylor's doing a good job for Acura in a slightly hobbled car. More action at the carousel as the 73 Park Place Porsche gets jiggy. So that was the pass there on Townsend Bell. Townsend left the door open and then tried to cut back. It's got some damage to the right-hand side there. Townsend was pretty fair there through the middle of the corner, had left a car's width. The Park Place car, I think, has got damage. Yeah, it has.
That's a pretty stout hit, wasn't it?
Side-to-side contact like that, you'd be worried about cutting a tyre. 5th position at the moment. Just wondering, oh, the mirror, the green mirror. falls off the Park Place car. And a couple of mirrors go today. A couple of 3 mirrors go today, in fact. That mirror on that side has been dangling for a while on the Park Place car. Tom Blomqvist, his fastest lap of the race. 1:19.5 for the number 25 BMW as he continues to chase Nick Tandy down, but he's done it 19.4. 3.3 seconds between Tandy and second place at the moment. 2.5 seconds between Antonio Garcia and the Corvette number 3, who is in second place, and the leader Earl Bamber in the 912 Porsche. 11 minutes to go. All of a sudden, 6 seconds between first and second, as the Mazda of Tristan Nunez doesn't get the best of traffic. And another 1 minute 16 seconds for Jonathan Bomarito in second place. He could be under threat shortly, except Felipe Nasser's had an 18, a 1:18. This is all down to the traffic.
It is, working their way through that GTD field and now the GTLM cars as well. Or shortly the GTLM cars. They passed the 66 car last time, and the 2 Fords have really faded during this race.
Well, the 66 has got damage, and Westbrook's finally got past him and he's pulled out 8 seconds. He's following Dirk around for a long time on that car. The little bit of full course yellow that we had will have assuaged any worries for the GT Le Mans cars about getting to the end, anything other than full fat, full rich. Same for the guys at the front of the field. So fuel mileage not now an issue. Inside the last 10 minutes. Your votes and nominations, please, for Spirit of the Race, hashtag MIDOSOTR to @IMSA Radio, and your questions, point to rising. Observations from Michelin Post Race Tech, the original end-user design show. You take control of the editorial, hashtag Michelin PRT to @IMSA Radio.
Inside 10 minutes to go now, a pretty handy advantage for Juan Pablo Montoya. It's just a brilliant restart. He's stretched it away from Tristan Nunez in second place.
Shea Adams got very quiet in the pit lane, and that can only possibly mean she is looking very carefully at Peteman's body language on the pit lane. Who's looking confident? Who's looking a little worried at the moment, Shea?
Acura looking very confident with the number 6 machine right now. Porsche looking very confident with their 2 cars right now. Any fuel concerns for Nick Tandy not making it to the end of the race were completely assuaged by that caution. So he is good to go. And Lexus, well, they have good poker faces.
Thank you, Shea. Man, Roger Penske, the captain, watching on as his driver Juan Montoya goes by Nick Tandy, who's leading, who's third rather in the GTLM category. 6 seconds is a decent margin now. That is a margin that you can manage. And with the spotters helping out, try and hit traffic at the right time. He's coming through the GT Le Mans first, second and third. Tandy already put to the sword, and it'll be Antonio Garcia next, and catching in the carousel, so he will lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, but the good news is for him, the GTLM cars unexpectedly have stretched out with the number 912 well clear of number 3.
Who's well clear of the 911, and Blomqvist actually is the one that's closest there.
Yeah.
Tandy having to push pretty hard to keep a second's gap between himself, as Felipe Nasser goes fastest of anyone in the second sector. So the Cadillac number 31 has found a bit of clear air in his chase to the podium. 1:13 flat for Nasser last time around, and it's under 3 seconds between him and Bomarito for the final step on the podium in GTD, crossing the line right now in front of us. It's still less than half a second, with Scott Hargrove only 2.5 seconds further back. So if there's any kind of stumble between those two, off has gone the 8 car. Hargrove in third, just as I mentioned him. Turn 1, big hit into the retaining tyre barrier. 6.5 minutes to go. Now, he didn't seem to have anyone around him. An extraordinary thing, just speared off sideways and backwards into the tyre barrier. Now, is that car?
There wasn't another class car behind him, but I didn't see whether there was anybody else.
There was no one around him, Jeremy. I don't know whether he just missed his turn in or something broke on the car, but that will allow Brian Sellers to go through into a podium position. Told us earlier on this weekend he was looking for a trophy to take home. Got the children with him this weekend, Mia and Liam, and he wanted a bit of silverware for the kids, and we'll go through in a moment or two's time. 5.5 minutes to go. Still green. I'm looking up to the starter stand on the pit straight, and there's not even a yellow flag there. There's a yellow flag at turn 1. Hargrove's car beached. No sign of movement there. Still looking up, and we're still green. 6 seconds rather, first to second. The battle is for the final step on the podium here, Jeremy. Felipe Nasser has closed in within 1.5 seconds now of Bomarito.
Yes.
There'll be no overtaking in turn 1, of course, so that takes away potentially one overtaking manoeuvre. Ricky Taylor and Jordan Taylor are only 1 second apart as well. They're 5th and 6th in the Acura number 7 in the black shiny Cadillac number 10. But the closest battle on the field, on this track at the moment, is for GTD and for the top step of the podium in GTD. Lexus versus Acura. Exact replay of last year. Hawksworth in the lead.
Well, it was the other Lexus last year, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was. Yeah, but it was Lexus versus Acura.
Yes, indeed.
Acura looking to win 2 classes. Meantime, going down towards turn 4. The Mazda is coming under pressure from Felipe Nasser in the red, white wheel and Cadillac. The Cadillacs have not been at the front of the field today, or indeed this weekend. And the 31 car with Durrani and Nasser behind the wheel have been the best of them, and this is a real chance to salvage something for their championship aspirations here and grab 3rd position. Under 4 minutes to go. Felipe Nasser, 1:12.8 last time around. That's only 4/10 away from the fastest lap of the race, which was set on lap 6 by Ollie Jarvis in the 77 car.
Where was that pace in the early stages?
1/2 second between those two now, Jeremy. That is game on with a couple of laps still to go. Well, it looks like race control are going to leave Scott Hargrove's car there. They must know that he's been talking to the pits and doesn't require any attention. It's a call to keep us racing with the waved yellow at turn 1. It's putting the onus on the drivers. I kind of like that call. It's saying to the guys, come on, you've got to act sensibly if you want us to stay green here. I'll tell you now, if he sees anything he doesn't like, it'll be full course yellow. So down into turn 1, the battle for GT Daytona. Past the Hargrove car, now climbing up. If anything, Hawksworth has edged out maybe a car's length, but that's about all. All of a sudden, the lead has come down to under 5 seconds. Surely Montoya's just managing this. Jordan Taylor trying to get to his brother. Hargrove out of the car. Hargrove out of the car, and that's why, I think that's why it stayed green. Good to see, because that was a big hit. Scott out of the car.
Side by side, headed towards the yellow flag.
Yellow flag, can't go through there. Can't go through, they both overtook the Porsche. Surely there's still a yellow flag there. Shea Adam can see that better than us. There's a yellow flag at turn 1 still.
Static yellow flag at turn 1, yes.
They're both going to get pinged. They are both going to get pinged for overtaking that Porsche. That is extraordinary. Car 31, penalty, pass under yellow, drive through. It's come up straight away. Waiting to see if the 55 gets called as well. It must have been close. Championship leader at the start of this race. It's
going to be
Felipe Nasser.
I don't think it's going to be white flag next time by.
That's going to put Ricky Taylor in the mix. And the 55's crawling. Bomarito's crawling.
Are you kidding?
Out out of fuel. He was two laps.
They did that in qualifying as well.
I reckon that was the other car, Jeremy, but yes, I reckon he's two laps short. So coming to the overtake, the static flag is still definitely there at turn 1. So the 31 is going to get pulled out of it. So Ricky Taylor might yet be on the podium. This is an extraordinary finish again, and we haven't even talked about GT Daytona for a while, and they're still battling down at turn 4. And
Number 31 car is...
31 car into the pit lane. Andy Lally's just done his fastest lap in the Lamborghini number 44 from Magnus. Fantastic, isn't it? You've got 111 laps on the car, and they're still doing their fastest laps. Chapeau to everybody here. We did say the track would be at its very best at the end of the race. 36 seconds left on the clock. Penske up on the wall. 2.1 seconds now. Where is the leader? Definitely the GTD guys are going to get another lap. Here they come. There goes the 4 Corvette. Many laps down, drive shaft failure there. There goes the 6, white flag, one more lap, and there's the Mazda, the 77. What's Nunes got left? 3 seconds, and traffic in front of the leader. NASA is back out from his drive-through. I think Ricky Taylor must be right there, so that's going to be close for the 3rd step on the podium. Bomarito, after a 124 lap, stayed out. So what happened there? He's just gone through. Bomarito's gone through in 3rd, but all of a sudden has dropped a huge amount of time after he was cruising. So maybe he's gone on to reserve. He's got one more lap to go. Push every button you can at that point. Montoya holds his own in the 1st sector. He's got 3 seconds to play with. The GTD guys will have one more lap after this one, so long as they aren't passed by Montoya, who is coming up behind them now. Kind of don't want one to go by these guys, so that we've got one more lap of this. Here he comes. He's right there. He's in behind the GTD leaders as they come out of the carousel. He's not going to pass them. I think he's actually lifted off. And so he gets the checkered flag, and an Acura wins the Acura Sports Car Challenge for the 2nd year running. Through goes Nunes, 2 seconds behind. Bomarito, I think, will be confirmed in 3rd, but the battle is for GT Daytona. Earl Bamber looking to win for Porsche and the 912, and this is the last 2 miles for the Acura in 2nd place to try and make it 2 class wins here. Down through turn 3. Hawksworth versus Super Mario Farnbacher. Farnbacher's got the run. Hawksworth will have to defend it at turn 4. Farnbacher brings the Acura to the outside. He's right on the ragged edge of adhesion, putting loads of steering correction in there. Backwards and forwards, he lost a bit of time. He's lost maybe 2 cars lengths, but he's still got a couple of chances. Maybe, just maybe, he can get up to the inside. He's getting terrible understeer from the front end of that car. The car is pushing. He's been off onto the dirty parts of the circuit. Both of the guys throwing these cars around. They were off the ground over the rise at turn 8 and 9. This is extraordinary. We asked for 2 hours and 40 minutes of action, and we're now into 2 hours and 43 minutes of action with these guys into overtime. But the overtime of the best time, and Farnbacher can't do it. He drifts wide, and it will be Lexus for the 2nd year in a row that wins GTD. Extraordinary. Shea Adam with some celebrating teams.
How about Dane Cameron, now a winning Penske driver? Congratulations. How does this feel?
It's awesome. Yeah, we were really close here last year, and it's pretty hard to believe it's taken a year and a half to get that win, but pretty special to be a winner for Roger and have him here today. And to do it here at another Acura-sponsored race is really great after letting it slip at Long Beach. So great to win this race 2 years in a row, and grateful for all the support for Acura to make this happen, and hopefully this can kind of kickstart a really strong back half of the year for us.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, battling right to the flag. The margin of victory at the front of the field, 2 seconds at the end, with Juan Montoya managing a gap that went out as far as 6 seconds. Still not sure what happened to Jonathan Bomarito in all that. He dropped well back, almost half a minute back from his teammate. Mazda 2nd and 3rd, so 2 cars on the podium for Mazda, 1 place better than they were here last year, but that elusive first IMSA victory is still just evading them. 9 seconds further back for Felipe Nasser, who pulled that penalty right at the end for overtaking under yellow. In GT Le Mans, Porsche first and third, with Corvette number 3 in the middle. The 912 on the top step of the podium for Earl Bamber and Lawrence Vantour. Their sticky weekend with Vantour beaching his higher car and Earl trying to push him out has ended up in absolute glorious sunshine at the top step of the podium. And in GT Daytona, it's a Lexus win. Jack Hawksworth brings it home with an audacious manoeuvre late on, and it was his teammate who did the hard work earlier on and shares with him now.
And yesterday as well, Richard Heistand was pole position, your first in the series, now your first win. How does this feel?
Feels great. I mean, I wasn't super happy with my first stint. That Acura was so fast. I made a mistake and he got by. I don't think I would have been able to keep him behind forever anyway. Jack did an unbelievable job. That pass on the restart, it was just incredible. How his pace at the end, people don't realize this Lexus at the end of a stint is very, very hard compared to some of these other cars with the tires. What he does at the end of the stint is remarkable. Just look at the pace of the other car. What he did is incredible. I'm thrilled.
Congratulations, time to celebrate.
Thank you.
Just have to exhale. That's all I can do at this point. I've just realised I've been tensed up for 2 hours and 45 minutes. My stomach muscles are actually aching. Well, Jeremy Shaw, marvellous stuff there. Let's have a quick look. Jeremy's just doing a quick addition. I should mention the 52 Orica team unchallenged in LMP2 and finished in 11th overall, behind the DPIs that didn't have problems. Let's start with GTD, Jeremy, if you've done that one.
No, I haven't got that far yet.
All right, I'll get back to you in a moment. Shea Adam is down in the pit lane.
GTLM points are really easy because the championship leaders coming into this race are the winners of this race. So it'll still be Earl and Larry with a points lead going into the Le Mans summer break.
This Mid-Ohio circuit produced some stunning green flag racing, says our tweeters. Let's have your hashtag Michelin PRT questions, points arising and observations. Brilliant stuff at IMSA Radio, hashtag Michelin PRT for post-race tech coming up in a little while. And your Spirit of the Race nominees as well. We'll announce that in Michelin PRT as well. Well, lots of green flag racing. We always say that brings out the best in everybody. Before we hand the PA and 90.3 FM back to Tony Laporta and the formalities, let's have a word with the GT Le Mans winners. Shea Adam.
Lawrence Vantour, 2 in a row at Mid-Ohio and 2 in a row in 2019. How does this one compare?
Really good. It was a bit of a unknown because we didn't have these conditions in the race. And yeah, we just did a perfect job. Chomsky did very good homework. And yeah, won, extended championship lead. It's a long way to go, but perfect.
And as you can hear, Earl has arrived.
Very good stuff. I just want to say a quick thank you to John Phippen, by the way, who's been the other voice on the PA here at Mid-Ohio. He's on the other side of the track, so we never get to see him. But when we're not talking, he is making sure that all of the public service announcements and everything else has got done. John's been here for a very long time, and it was great to hear his voice again here at Mid-Ohio. John, thank you very much indeed. Also, to all of our broadcast team back in London under Tim Gray, our executive producer, and of course up in Charlotte, the NASCAR Productions, Keith D'Alessandro and the rest of the guys, and our ladies and gentlemen on the cameras here who have had to endure so much this weekend, as have the marshals. We'll try and get one more winner for you, and that would be the guys at the front of the field. Montoya bringing it home. What a great day for Acura. Jeremy Shaw, some points please, if you wouldn't mind. Start where you want.
Well, let's start with GTD in that case. With a second place finish today, I believe Trent Hinman will take the points lead by 4 points over Townsend Bell and Frankie Montecalvo, 84 to 80. Tied for third on 77 points apiece are Patrick Long and then Richard Heistand and Jack Hawksworth. That's the tie then for third position. In GTLM, as Shea Adams says, the victory for Vantour and Bamber will extend their championship lead. They came in here with a 4-point advantage. They will leave with more than that because the number 911 car, which was in second place, 4 points behind, finished in third place, will extend that by 5 points. In the DPI category, Felipe Nasser and Pipo Derani with a fourth place finish here today will have 120 points to the 116 of Elio Castroneves and Ricky Taylor, who finished fifth today. In third position, Jordan Taylor and Renger van der Zande, and then in tied for fourth will be the race winners today, Dane Cameron and Juan Pablo Montoya, and Philip Albuquerque and Joao Barbozza, the winners at Long Beach last time around. And all of them covered by 8 points.
Brilliant stuff from everyone concerned. We'll be doing it all again in a wee while with not all of the classes at Detroit. Then there's the break for Le Mans, and you'll be able to hear that, of course, test day and the whole of Mobile One Radio Le Mans on RS1, 91.2 FM at the circuit. But for the moment, for our race coverage, it's bye from Mid-Ohio, and stand by, those of you on RS2 IMSA Radio, for Michelin Post-Race Tech. Shea, Jeremy, thank you. I'm John Hindorf. It's Tony Laporta for the formalities here at Mid-Ohio next.